server back when they had a lead, right? So I feel like in that sense, this newest iteration has a lot more to do.
Absolutely, yeah. This is sort of their first opportunity to prove themselves on more of an international stage against European teams. Now, they will get more of those. Obviously, they're over in Europe at the moment. They've got Bucharest in a week's time. Then they'll have to go back to North America to play the RMRs. So it's a busy schedule for them over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, dominating an NA qualifier isn't anything to sort of gloat about. I think the 3-0 win against Wildcard in the grand finals is something that you can give yourself a pat on the back for. That is an impressive result.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that's sort of the one that I'm absolutely focusing on as a yardstick for this team perhaps being able to give us a competitive run over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I am with you. This is going to be a very, very important time to prove themselves in, international competition for sure with this new roster.
Yeah, and while we are talking about complexity having to prove themselves, right, we also have to talk about what they have to prove themselves against. And with Nemiga being on the server on the other side today, this isn't exactly the best version of Nemiga that we've seen, I guess, in the past 8 to 10 months, right? It's been a very disappointing 2025 for them so far. They haven't exactly been doing all that. And, I will talk about this as we head into the game. Last year, they had several first and second place finishes, which included, lands like RES Regional Champions, and then they also had that win in ECL, or I think it was second place in ECL. And this year, they haven't placed in the top 3 even once. So, although there is a bit of a silver lining that Nemiga have been recently facing slightly stronger teams than Complexity, we still do need to wait for the wins to come in. And speaking of coming in, it's going to be Nemiga straight onto the Beast site as we kick off Anubis.
Wasting no time at all, bombing it into that B-bomb site. And the Julies, aggressive from behind, but they've been spotted, as does this con pincer, but Sixy mowing them down.
Oh man, this is going to be a really difficult bomb site to hold. JT finds Xanter. It's there, and Zwei trying to make something happen, but there's already a player on the bomb, and you simply can't get them off. The defuse, the Molotov's good, but a 10-second defuse will make sure that it's nigh impossible for Complexity to defuse. There it is, another one on the chopping block. Zwei looking for more. And it's such a messy affair. How the hell is the defuse still on? But it's not going to stay on as Nemiga get there first.
Jesus, that round was chaos. They would have absolutely had that if it wasn't for time left on the smoke. And yeah, Sixy has done amazing work here in Con. But it's just so awkward, isn't it? In a pistol round where you don't have any util, you're fighting through a smoke. In hindsight, maybe would have worked better if they'd gone for a coordinated push through it. But I think you're sort of feeding the Glocks at that point.
It's just that this late into the round, expecting there to be a Molotov is a tall order, right?
Yeah.
And of course, Sixy coming in with the dualies in the fashion that he did. Certainly earning a name that sounds a lot like Sexy. Oh, there it is. There's more of the action. Lear down. Mid dominance already being established, but Nemiga have tons more firepower to fight this round with.
I think we're going to see a real back and forth at the start here. In a best of one, you can't afford to be giving up the pistol and those follow-ups. So this is why we see the CT4 spike. And a couple of trades back, Nyx manages to strip ahead with a 5-7. And so far, so good. 3v3, but they've lost the mid control.
At least for Complexity, they've got more resources on the right bomb site. JT holding the line, but the clothesline will be unsuccessful. Risky Bob finds his number. Another one dialed as Zwei opens up the A bomb site now. Grim, a 1-on-3, and he's only got an MP9, so, I mean, if I'm in his shoes, just, I'm hoping that you get an exit or two, but even that might be a bit of a luxury here, Josh.
Yeah, he could be pushing it. Bear in mind, it's a full eco next round. That MP9 could come in handy, but $600 a pop if he can get any exits here. I think he's also hoping that a rifle comes stumbling his way. That shouldn't be the case. But Amiga get away with murder. They go in heavy with the SMGs here. There are 3 of them at the start of the round. They'll survive with 3 players. More importantly, both the rifles. A second round going their way. And a very, very good start to this match.
Oh, yeah. Now, of course, I think things are going to be turning up. The heat is definitely going to be turning up when we actually see the stars of complexity start to get their hands on weaponry. And, you know, while we are on that subject, I wanted to talk about how, you know, Namiga doesn't particularly have any stars that sort of scream at you, right? You look at someone like Zwei. I would say he's probably the most promising player on Amiga right now, but even he isn't exactly leaving everybody else in the dust. But if you look at the side of complexity, it's definitely more of a Grim and Holzerk show.
Yeah, that's been the case as of recent, that's for sure. Especially when Holzerk gets out that orb, he can do pretty powerful stuff with it. Here, though, 5-7 in hand, and he's just got to make the most out of a bad situation. Nick's trying to do the same, but difficult when nades are landing at your feet. It does just dial it back a little bit. Playing close to the smoke, knows that there's no longevity to that. Eventually it'll fade, and he'll be in deep water. It just wants to jiggle. Be the first point of contact.
I mean, they're almost lucky that complexity doesn't go for a stack or anything of that sort, right? Because they have all of their eggs in one basket. 5-7, unsuccessful. On gets the opening kill on the second one. And it should be a pretty comfortable bomb plant. Now, not a whole lot you can do when you've just got the measly pistols holding up against the rifles, so you can certainly overlook these issues. Oh, JT! That's a stolen kill right there.
Yeah. Grim's got a good position again as well. He should get a freebie here. I don't think anyone's going to be expecting him creeping behind rugs. Oh, no, maybe he doesn't get a freebie. It's sort of tucked under the corner. You can see from the mini-map. Felt like he was teed up for that one. No chance at all for the retake here, though.
Yeah, Grim almost smelled him too, right?
Seems to be very well. I don't know if he's had a sound cue or something. Oh, no! Oh, that's a shame. That's a real opportunity missed. JT at least will take one more down, so... reasonable damage being dealt there for the effective eco round. In hindsight, going for a stack there would have made a lot of sense. Grim had pushed all the way up. He had a lot of information. They heard the sound cues there in main as well, the nades and flashes. And considering you kind of got nothing to lose in a round like that, I am surprised that they don't double down and stack onto that A site. But either way, it's an eco round. You brush it off. Now into the meat of things with those rifles out. We will see Holzerk on that AWP.
Definitely a bit more leaning towards A. If you look at how Namiga's just generally starting things off, Khan, a fantastic opportunity to be finding. And, you know, the conversation was about Holzerk, that when he gets that AWP out, he can be pretty damn powerful. And I think before the game, I was just looking over my notes, and I definitely put Holzerk over Khan. But with stuff like this, might have to change my mind. That's the A site being opened up. Zwei, fantastic opener.
An important time for it as well. A 3-0 start, but this is the buy round. This is the one that means the most, and they've just found this weak spot here in the complexity defense. It's this the A bomb site. They've just struggled to hold, and they've struggled to retake. 60 this time gives it a decent stab with a headshot on the M4. They've now got to try and break this crossfire. Surely no chance. Khan's there for the trade, and Namiga keeping things very tidy.
Oh yeah, what a start for them. Look at that in the replay. Instant shot from Khan. Gives them so many more opportunities towards A. And, you know, you can't really blame Nyx for this, because he gets 2 opening kills. It's about as much as you can do. But Khan sniping, man, that is on another level. To get the opener there on the second, to protect his teammate in the crossfire, just really good awareness. And I think he woke up on the right side of the bed as far as the opping department's considered. But back to the pistols for complexity.
Nyx. Aggressive. Pops the smoke this time with the MP9. Wants to still put a bit of pressure on, but it's just difficult to feel like you're putting any pressure down when you're at that 4-0 deficit. It is important to look at that economy, though. Namiga despite keeping things clean with the rounds, they've certainly not kept things clean with the body count, right? A lot of players falling, the money's looking poor. They only take one loss, and they'd be pretty much down to nada.
I don't want to make any inferences this early in the bracket, right? But it does kind of feel like Complexity are going up against opposition that might be a little bit more well-drilled than what they've been going up against very recently. Oh, Dixie doing God's work here. Makes that MP9 pop. Lear gonna get punished as well. Zwei is now starting to fight back, though. It's a 2 versus 3. But the defense's weaponry is quite limited. There will be a flank eventually. There's about 15 seconds on it. So Khan needs to start thinning the numbers. They need to trim the hedges before they can get this bomb down. Holzerk loses his life. Are they going to expect this 2-man push? Khan should already be positioned for this. No. Instead, it's going to be the Rifler. It's Zwei playing behind the pillar, and Khan's going to start to get position up as well. Shot to the side, and you simply can't fight Grim there. Complexity, the first.
That's such a smart call to just double up there in main and shift the whole way. Whilst they're setting up for the post plant and worried about all angles. Just come at him as a unit. It's a ridiculous round to win if you're Complexity, but they'll take what they can get. They'll take it with open arms, right? I said winning that round really does add a spanner to the works for Namiga's economy. It does exactly that. Lear's down to the Desert Eagle. AKs are out, but Util's lacking. And there's a real opportunity here for Complexity if they can overcome this buy. They'll get a freebie in the next, and what started off as quite a dominant, quite one-sided game will close up very quickly.
I want to see how much further Namiga can push this terrorist side, because you know Anubis is almost characteristic for how well we can play on the T. Oh, that is rough. Zwei offering haircuts. And of course, it's Holzerk on the end of a low taper fade on the other side.
Yikes. Yeah. Not the barber that you want as well today.
I saw a toddler with a low taper fade the other day, so it's just been stuck in my head.
Oh no. That should count as child abuse.
Perhaps.
Should be a crime.
It should be. You look pretty fly, though.
Fine.
Oh, flashbang should be good. Nyx being allowed some opportunity to fight back. And Sixy, he's been so good holding off these initial onslaughts, but one will have to do this time. It's Grim to try and pick up the pieces. Nate follows through. Spray is good, but the damage is not enough. It's not decisive. JT, the IGL that can often turn up the heat even with his own rifle, is responsible for finding to Khan and Lear so little HP, but they've got the aim to furnish it. Namiga, a 5th.
Oh, brutal round to lose. Holzerk, the way that he falls at the start there is just always a risk that you run when you're holding mid with that AWP. The bench in a precarious position. The boost can always come over the top, but yeah, to lose at the end there with 9 points of health between them. The HE felt like it would do the job. It didn't, and the bullets weren't able to either. Just leaving JT in that impossible spot, and he's coming to the server a little bit cold, so expecting him to clutch a 2 versus 1 like that, perhaps too tall a task. HG, good time, good damage. And they're aware. Yeah, they heard the sound cue. They know Grim was trying to play through it.
Namiga's aim is so crispy at the moment. And, you know, heading into this game, I thought the pieces that we would be looking at to perhaps delegate blame would be Sixy. It would be Nyx, but no, it's the superstar fraggers that you generally associate with Complexity's success, not turning up the heat just yet. Oh, Sixy, what have you gotten away with? That's good. JT's going to be able to add some more to the tally as well, but it's still a 3 versus 3 when the dust settles.
Yeah, despite the heroics, we're still even, and not for long. Khan's got a brilliant position, and that's the problem. You go for a commitment like that through water, you leave mid vulnerable, and you allow yourself to be caught with your pants at your ankles. JT, very aware, but this is going to be an awkward gunfight. Okay, trade back. And a 1v1, how does he go about this?
Oh, the flash. Oh, that's so awkward. Yeah, nobody envies that position. Complexity. Once again, it's one of the newer guns to step it up. Going 11-5 already with only 2 rounds to Complexity's name.
Such a bizarre way to go about that at the end. I mean, 60's played it perfectly, but there wasn't tons of time. There was about 40 seconds on that clock. You didn't necessarily need to just pop 2 flashbangs and go Batman. But either way, they'll get it over the line. The money is scrappy again, to be honest, for both teams. 2 MP9s out here for Complexity. It's the Tech 9s and YaLLas out of Amiga. Despite their successes, they are broke. Yeah. This boost again. No one's on the other side. No one's got the money for an all.
Both teams pretty much at the mercy of their wallets, right? It really comes down to you can fork one over the other, grift away around, and start resting on your laurels. Mid control being established by Nemiga.
They're going to start to dial this back. They know that they've got plenty of time on the clock, and they can just kind of keep Complexity guessing here. See if anyone makes a mistake, see if anybody pokes their head up in middle to see some information.
I mean, they don't have
and
all
they've
the
got
time
the
in the
middle,
world.
which is Zanta. Yeah, but
you've got 50 seconds, and this smoke does give them quite a bit of mobility, and it suddenly split the map in 2, but there is one rotator that can make it anywhere he wants. That's all, Zerk. Oh, they know his position. Now they're going to have to go fish for him, and then the world is their oyster, but they have to deal with him first. We'll see whether or not he can relay the right information from the death cam. There's a player crept into Temple. He's trying to keep Complexity on their toes. Instead, Nemiga will be taking it all the way back, circling their efforts around to try and bump it to A. 60, once again, ready with the clothesline, and it's Risky Bob to put him out of his misery. A 2 versus 3 as Complexity gear up for the retake. And it's Risky Bob and Khan, AK-47 and Galil. They've got some time to move around. They can still buy themselves some space. The reload's going to get relay audio. Nix up, and running MP9's hard to deal with, and it's just Risky Bob remaining. He's got the AK-47, but he can't nail a singular shot.
Wow, okay, they react off of that very well. I was thinking for a second, you know, when you get that information from Holzerk that they're all in CT spawn, what do you do with that information? I guess you could take main control, but it isn't concrete evidence of what bomb site they're going to, and yeah, that death cam becomes quite important, but they group up well, they get it done in the retake without any casualties, they put that 3rd on the board, they should have a freebie here against the Pistols as well, and they bite back at a very important time.
I think one of the biggest things there in the previous round was that Holzerk was able to waste so much time with the MP9, right? He gets some advanced information with the shoulder peek on the MP9, gets a kill, is able to add some more damage, and by the time they're actually contesting a bomb site, there were only about 25 seconds remaining. Now, it's a devastating hold from 60. And that man has already crept up to 15 kills.
Yeah, some eco frags sprinkled in there, but he's having a very, very good start to the game. And as
Sprinkle's a fair statement, you know. I will say that much. He had some really important kills, and I feel like if he wasn't stepping up in the fashion that he is, A, Complexity wouldn't have the rounds to try and come back into the game, and B, Nemiga's economy would just still be a Goliath. But it's not, because he's constantly getting killed as they're trying to enter bomb sites. Even on the rounds they've lost, he has done a fair bit of damage.
One of the new players with a lot to prove here on the international stage, and one of the weaker links in terms of the recent ratings. It is a big time to step up, and he will take a 16th before the end of this round as well. Ace stolen away from him by Grim, but smiles on the faces. You can see that they're finally picking up a bit of momentum. I think he was just as surprised as we were that he managed to transfer one through the smoke there.
I do want to point out that 60 is doing a really good job at being a little bit more dynamic on middle, right? Like he's played it passively, he's abandoned it completely, he's gone forward, taken the liberty to get super aggressive. So there's all sorts of playstyles being peppered into this mid defense, which I think is doing a good job at holding off Nemiga. Now, I've also got to contextualize how many rounds Complexity have with the fact that they are on the CT side. You add one more to that, you'll be super happy with what you've done. Couple more, and suddenly you've won the half by a pretty good margin.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely with you.
I think they should widen middle on Anubis instead.
Maybe. That's
Sorry,
actually not a bad shout. Yeah, proving to be very difficult here to play against, though, in mid. Nyx. So they will route over towards B instead. We haven't seen Nemiga really poke the bear here on the B site at all so far this half. But Grim in the corner will be tested. Holzer from that sniper again. Smokes will isolate these duels. They've got an opportunity here.
Yeah, Grim doesn't feel too worried. He knows he's got Holzerk on the angle, but the flashbang is good. And as the rest of his teammates are taking some attention away, he's going to be able to creep in, find a kill on Zwei. But Xanter's going to get caught in middle as well. 60's timing, it's perfect. Slowly creeping up on 20 kills now, and we're barely through the first half. Nemiga. They felt like their options were a little bit limited, right? They couldn't get too much more done on A. They started to feel run down by 60 on middle, and when they start to go towards B, they don't realize that there's just this unholy trifecta set up for them.
There it is again from 60, by the way. Just, you know, the previous round playing quite aggressive there in middle. This one, after taking some early damage, pulls it all the way back, plays from Temple. Oh, okay, we've been given this space to stretch my legs a little bit, and then bang. He's there to pull a bullet in your skull. Let's trade back. Perhaps a bit of revenge there for Lit. But with 20 seconds left, it feels like there's no real option to play for this round. Khan was teeing himself up towards that A bomb site. But we'll pull the plug on it. It'll be 5-5 Complexity. They've done exactly what was asked of them, and they've got 2 chances to extend that even further.
Counter-terrorists win.
Oh man, this is really rough for an Amiga that started off in the fashion that they did. And for Complexity, I was starting to think of question marks around their superstars. I think... Listen, those question marks haven't been explained away yet, right? Holzer's still sitting on 2 kills. He's the man that I expect to be carrying the team. He was doing it even when you've had brand names like Elege and Floppy be part of the Complexity roster, but at least he's got some breathing room, because we've got the likes of 60 being able to carry him at the moment. I do think that is just a bit of a slow start. I think we'll see it get better throughout the day, and I mean, he's going to have opportunities, so there's that.
Yeah, opportunities indeed. The team will have an opportunity here to quite comfortably take a 6th round. We did see them struggle a little bit against a buy like this earlier on in the half, but it had a couple more rifles. Very capable aimers in the hands of Amiga. You've got to keep an eye on Zwei with that Desert Eagle. You can do some real nasty stuff with it. Complexity should be teeing themselves up for a 6th hit. I'm just playing close to this B main smoke again.
Here it comes. Oh? You're gonna stagger it, actually. I don't know why. I thought that they might just try and book it with the pistols, but they don't. Grim's still playing a static position, but this time he doesn't have the insurance policy of the AWP. But he does know that they aren't exactly locked and loaded. 60, still playing on the shoulder beats. Oh! Got a little spooked. Backed off. There's 2 hero AK-47s that can make it work. There, the audio cue. Hard, sick. Grim in a fantastic position. He's got support from JT. So they're dealing with this problem so far, so good.
There they are again, scratching their heads. Where's 60? This time he's in heaven on A. And it's Grim they have to contend with as they try and wrap around to B. Xanta pre-aiming the angle. Grim goes for a little wander. He's back now on the angle. Tops out to the USP. So much damage having been dealt. Now the AK picked up, but he hand delivers one to Risky Bob. It's got no bullets in it. Charges him down. No mercies. Wait. That who I said watch out for on that Desert Eagle. Gets no opportunity to do any damage with it. YaLLa's there to finish. And a flawless round out of Complexity. Really shows just how much they've developed and kind of warmed into this game. That's come in bursts, right?
That is so weird, right? Like, with the way the game started, you wouldn't have expected this. In fact, I was ready to brush some of the kills we were seeing from 60, some of the work we were seeing from Nyx just under the rug, but it's been sustained. The performance has been good. And you know, tournaments like this one, they're gonna allow Complexity to sort of shake off some of the seeds of doubt that might be around their current roster iteration.
This gets a little bit awkward. Yeah, with that smoke going down, the right way to go about it. Just 60 dropping that incendiary, pulling his teammate back out. And saying, all right, we'll give up that space, but regain it. I was going to say once the smoke had faded. Actually not the case. They'll play right through. He could be in trouble.
Oh, no
what?
way! He doesn't even get refract there! He can be such a menace, and he's got Khan in his back pocket to help. YaLLa, Grim, JT. The trio could pay dividends, but no, Risky Bob will disallow any transgressions from Connector. It's YaLLa and Grim now remaining to hold off any onslaught as the final round. And they've got to hope they can claw a couple of eyeballs out. Complexity, they've already done God's work with their mini comeback, 5-1 to 6-5. But Nemiga aren't going to let this last round go. Grim positioning around the smoke, caught by Zwei, and yeah, that is a lonely YaLLa.
In a round that he has to go for as well. Final of the half, 1v5 with the AWP. It's not going to
Listen, this is where if I have an AWP, it's already whispering in my ear to just go for exit frags and pad the stats.
Yeah, I can't disagree. I can't disagree, but come on, YaLLa. Be the hero. Maybe do pad those stats a little bit, because he's only found 3 kills so far this half. But it will end with no more. 6-6, Nemiga, a much better round there. And honestly, even though he only finishes the round with 1 kill, what Xanta does there outside of main is just criminal. His crosshair placement is so perfect. We'll see it again. He just pokes his head up, bang, straight onto 60. And more importantly, staying alive for then that support to come in from the side. Just cracks open that A site so comfortably and punishes Complexity for the risk they took by going aggressive.
And with the halfway mark, we still have absolutely no idea which team's going to look better. I think Complexity a tad bit more favored. But
yeah, with the CT start.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this could really go either way. Zwei, though, his push, it could be incredible to steal this pistol round away. Catches one with his pants down, caught with the U-tilt. And
it's a fake anyway, though.
Yeah,
look, they pulled everyone away.
He should be able to communicate that info, right? No, it's JT to start taking control of the B bomb site. They've taken out Connector. There's already a bomb down. And I'm not sure why they don't call for the rotations towards B, especially after Zwei gets all that info. And now they're playing a little game of cat and mouse with Zwei not being able to be committed to the cause towards B. And although it comes down to the 4v3, this is effectively still 3 coming off on the retake. 60 and Nyx, a kill apiece. Now receding into B main. Khan left alive in a 1 versus 3, and he knows that he does not want any of that smoke. What a strange round.
I think, honestly, that's just miscommunication galore. When you think about what Zwei actually saw, he's got someone setting up a flashbang and one just about going through the corner in main. And with no one with a deep sightline into main, it kind of screams that hang on a minute. Yeah, there might... Oh, I might have kind of had a bad timing here. There might already be 3 around the corner into A main. So kind of instantly calls those rotations over. And especially with JT finding the entry on the bomb site as well, it just keeps them busy for an extra second. Gives that key time for Complexity to get out onto B. And yeah, they have no resistance whatsoever. Everyone is panicking, dashing over to that A site. So second round buyout. Holsek spot an MP7.
I didn't know that gun was in the game.
Haven't seen it in so long.
I thought maybe they just got rid of it from CS2. New update. Well, it should be an easy cleanup here. Although everybody from Nemiga is already getting geared up for an A-side defense, it's still going to go the way of Complexity. Nice couple of shots. We see a consolation frag with a Desert Eagle, but that is about it. Xanter with 22 points of health. Definitely doesn't have much of a chance here.
A little bit of MP7 action as well. I was worried we wouldn't see any, but he manages to get the trade right there. And there you go. All right, Nyx wrapping things up. Not too bad at all, to be honest. You know, take 2 casualties, but all you're actually losing is the SMGs there. So it's a little bit of a blessing in disguise going into that first buy round. There will be justification to reinvest those rifles. For Amiga, this is an important one to convert.
Yeah, I think if Complexity get away with this becomes so much harder for Nemiga. I just realized, Sixy, he's already on 20 kills, man. This is a monstrous performance to be starting off the day, and I can't help but think that he might be the only reason why Complexity don't get shut off so early. Couple friendly love taps there, but does come out with the advantage for Nemiga. So two-man pushes about to come through. There's one on B main, there's a couple players in A. Uh-oh, Xanter's in a bit of trouble, but the flashbang is good, and Holzer's down. Now, Sixy, he's quickly trying to book it all the way back to B to act as that second prong for connector, so the B main players can activate, but there's still a tad bit of util available for Nemiga. It's risky Bob to try and stop them, and he does have a teammate. 2v3, whichever bomb site they go to, so Nemiga should be pretty happy with the setup.
They certainly should be. With 40 seconds left, they don't really need to move here. They can just stay put. There's no util left for the T side, so they are fully reliant on just winning these Angels as they take the contacts. And JT's going to be frustrated. He just sees an elbow, doesn't connect with anything. Grim will, though. And now they've just got to sniff out Lear. They know he's lingering here somewhere. As they clear connector, Sixy will get on that bomb. He'll just tap it, force out the peak. It's so perfect. And just when you think, okay, well, as long as they trade evenly, Nemiga have got the advantage here. They can't get anything done.
Xanter, though, he's still got a chance. One in connector, one in B main, and he can isolate these duels. And he's making the right moves. It's all about hitting the shots, though. Expecting the crossfire, swing out's good. Gets an AK-47. And now he's got to deal with one more. This is possible.
He knows JT's in con.
Yeah, those audio keys aren't going to be helping his case by any stretch of the imagination. JT will have the final say in Complexity, or inching towards double digits action.
Okay, yeah, very well played there once it got to the 3-on-4. Just crisp as you really can get. 6 even being deeped there by the FAMAS Xanter. If this would have been for the ace, by the way, he found 4 kills. He's done everything he can in that round. He's begging for his teammates to bring anything to the table. But with the lack of kit as well, JT just playing real far back, forcing him all the way through connector. Even if he lost that gunfight, I'm pretty certain Xanter didn't have time. So back down to the pistols. Complexity take control after being stomped at the start here. They're putting their foot down. And Nemiga struggling big time. Nice shot from the Deagle, though, from Risky Bob.
Yes, a nice shot, but actually penetrating this bomb site on the retake is seeming nigh impossible. But look, they're still going to give an honest shot at this. They have Xanter on an M4. They've got pistols to work with. But 6e is already starting to thin the numbers. Switches out to the Glock. And he's still going to be able to find 2. He is madness at the moment. JT, Nix, Holzer, their names are going to light up the right side of the board. And Complexity get away with 10. But man, oh man, what is that from 6e?
Yeah, tidy stuff. And honestly, that's what we've seen from him throughout this entire game. We'll sprinkle in a few more eco frags and give him the stat pad, right? He's 24 and 11. And as bizarre as this sounds, it's actually a bit of a skill in itself to just stay composed when you do have pistols charging you down and whatnot. And he seems to be sort of really good in those situations. Staying alive. Not giving Amiga anything in rounds like that. Double AWP setup here out of the CTs. First time we'll see this in action. I'm surprised it comes out of Amiga. I really thought if we were going to see it, it would be from Complexity.
Oh, man.
Smoke. Yeah,
you can tell that Namiga's feeling a bit desperate right now because they are reaching for the bottom of the barrel in their strat book. Bringing out those double AWPs when weaponry is a bit lackluster. I haven't seen them go for too many double AWPs in the past, but maybe that's just me not having a huge sample size of watching Namiga. The Complexity, man, it started off a 5-1 lead for Namiga. They set the tone. It almost felt like a foregone conclusion, but now Complexity had so much more to say.
Map that you often see these double snipers come out on either.
Wait.
6e. Oh my god, look at his position. He's found himself all the way up. Good. Risky Bob's kind of entertaining. You see he's checking CT, but it should be a freebie kill onto Zwei. There you go. Gone.
That's so rough.
The timing from Khan as well. Everything that could be going wrong is going wrong here for Amiga. Every single timing is off by a millimeter. At the start of the round when we saw Khan drop that smoke for the one-way and it just doesn't quite give it to him. And then again, timing after timing, he just sees the ankle. As it jumps around the corner, it's too late to pull the trigger. They've got to hold on to both of these snipers. Of course they can't go for a 2v4 retake with them. That's going to be 11 here for Complexity.
This is an individual masterclass from some of the Complexity players, sure, but the fact that they've maintained their composure as a unit is so impressive. Don, gonna lose his AWP there. No!
Oh no!
That's both AWPs! Oh!
You know, I wasn't even thinking about the hunt. I just thought, you know, they're just trying to find a way to exit out of B. They'll let these two AWPs get carried across. The impact that has, and the money that Complexity have built up here in these last few rounds as well, does just allow them to take those casualties in pursuit of Grim getting those trades. And now Namiga kind of broken again. Now, had they have held on to both of those AWPs, I'm not really sure what the buy would have looked like anyway. I think maybe it would have just been a half investment around them, but...
Listen, a couple players having AWP suddenly means that you can drop over a couple MP9s from the two players that are holding AWPs, and, you know, they still have armor. Now, their teammates can get armor, and, you know, on the CT side, I think it can still absolutely pay dividends. So this is, as much as we're going to try and, you know, mince how bad the situation is, you can't escape the fact that two AWPs are still two AWPs. No sugarcoating's going to help Namiga right now.
No.
Wow, that was kind of pacey.
Thinking about becoming a jungle MC.
No idea what that is. You're going to have to message me after the broadcast.
No, in songs where you have the girl and the deep voice in the background. Okay. Yeah, like that.
I see.
That'd be me. Yeah.
Xanter, he sees something as well. A couple bullets flying in his face, but he'll be able to avoid them. Smoke dropped. And Complexity are playing a much slower game plan this time. They've got some players outside A. It's pretty basic default. But considering the fact that Nemiga themselves are playing such a static setup, this doesn't really do Complexity any favors. Instead, it just sort of wastes time. And I love how conservative Nemiga have actually been with their util as well. There's still a smoke that they can pop, so Connector's a no-go, and there's still another one ready. Uh-oh, this is gonna be bad, Josh. There's 4 players waiting on the B site, and they've all got 5-7s. This could still be Nemiga's chance to bring it right back in. There was a smoke available, and now it's all down to the A-Lurk to make sure that he can create space. Xanter, no! He's caught with util! No. He's propping up a flashbang. It's still a 1-for-1, but that does give access to the A-bomb site. They need to book it quick, though. Grim already trying to cut off rotations. He does cut off the blood supply. But can they get the bomb down in time? They don't even have to, because Complexity will get away with murder.
Grim makes light work of them there in middle. You can see he's happy with that one. And honestly, Nemiga, it feels like dropping that smoke grenade in main is actually what screws them over there, right? They had a perfect stack, and Complexity were about to play into it. It's that smoke being dropped that forces them to go elsewhere.
I'll also say that with Xanter, with so little time remaining, Xanter setting up a piece of util instead of just popping it and running away, trying to waste as much time as possible just to make sure that it's even harder for the A-Lurk to gain access to the A-bomb site. I feel like that's an oversight. Sly, position spotted. A couple mollies are going to clear out the left and right side, so that does allow them to usher themselves into the B-bomb site. That is not the option that they're going for. Instead, they'll be holding off for a little bit. Khan has a couple players coming his way, tries to sneak away, and he will. That's mid given up.
That's good decision making there to just escape through camera. Can't stick around and take that fight once the rifle's flashed you out. Nobody wants to be the man to make the mistake here. If you're on Nemiga. Complexity on the cusp of victory here. Map point in the best of one to get the opening game going their way, and the final execution is here towards B.
Oh, that is every single duel going the way of Complexity. Might have started off slow, but this is a fantastic way for them to be kicking off Group A. Complexity, just one more nail in the coffin, and that should be it. Nyx does become a casualty of war here, but nothing that Nemiga can bring to the table after the first few rounds. A 13-6 finish is going to solidify the dominance that Complexity were always going to bring to the table, and now they're one up in the group.
That game kind of brought us everything, didn't it? A resurgence after a bad start, but ultimately a very convincing game out of Complexity, who we've had our apprehensions about coming into this tournament and one of their sort of first chances to prove themselves here in EUCS. An amazing performance out of Sixy. Again, another one of those players that we had question marks about with some of the sort of poor performances since coming into this roster. I think that's a real statement to kick off the tournament, and they're going to be happy with it.
Yeah, for sure. This is a great game from Complexity, and Nemiga, it's exactly what I was fearing. It's the fact that they haven't exactly been popping off in 2025. I think late last year they were doing a pretty good job, but then they had a bit of a fall off, and you can see that in the round distribution, right? Initially, Nemiga, you know, they can turn up the heat when they want to. They did a good job at the start, and beyond that, it's just an all-Complexity show. It's nothing from Nemiga.
Yes. Now, one condition, I think, going into Complexity's next game, we need to see a whole lot more out of Holzerk. He had an absolute stinker that game. It really didn't feel like he was doing a whole lot of anything. But his teammates were making up for that big time, and it felt like that weight was off of his shoulders a little bit. He could get away with a poor performance. In their next matchup, that will definitely not be the case. So, yeah, there is sort of that room for improvement. But ultimately, yeah, I think that was a really, really good start here for Complexity, and a good way to get their tournament sort of rocking here.
I'm really happy to see Sixy's performance, honestly. You know, generally you just have Grim, JT, Holzerk. Those are the names you have in the spotlight. But for the relatively newer players to to be dominating in the fashion that they did. I think Nyx did a really good job in the places where he was pressured. I feel like Sixy went above and beyond. He had so much for us to see on middle. He played passively, he played aggressively, he took the bull by the horn so many times where he was taking matters into his own hands, and I think it definitely paid dividends. This scoreline, dare I say, wouldn't be in Complexity's favor if it wasn't Sixy allowing them the budget to come to sort of develop back into the game, Josh.
Yeah, he came alive at a really key point, right? When we actually look at the overall scoreboard, he's not miles ahead of the rest. Grim was fantastic at the end there and caught him up pretty much. But yeah, the important part is when everyone else was quiet, when nobody else was stepping up, Sixy was putting up big numbers, materializing some of those key rounds that started that comeback. And yeah, as you say, that cannot be discounted at all. He is so important there in that game.
Of course, that is still a best of one, right? We need to see the sustained performance come out from teams if you want to make it through the gauntlet that is best of ones upon best of ones for a whole day. Of course, that was not the only piece of action you're going to be watching today. There are many more games coming up, 3 that we're going to be covering, and then even more action in the evening session. That next game is going to be Passion UA versus Metasport. If you're interested in that, we'll be right back. Well, not quite right back, because it's going to be a little while, but in about half an hour, you'll be witnessing the second game of the day. Don't go anywhere.
She said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet.
On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drops, coughed up behind it at the edge of...
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go!
Welcome back, everybody. That first game was a fantastic watch, and I'm waiting to see whether or not this one is going to match. It's Passion UA versus Metasport as that next matchup. Josh, how are you feeling about this one?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm quite excited for this. I've covered a lot of Metasport games recently. I've watched a lot of Metasport games recently, and they have massively impressed me. So I think this should deliver. Passion UA, a team that, you know, tried and tested, are able to beat some behemoths of opponents, but they have had some rocky results recently. So we'll have to wait and see how things pan out here. But in a best-of-1 format, you do sort of feel like that's maybe where they could really shine.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about how Passion UA has been doing, right? Because, you know, they're currently going through their roster rebuild with Fem and Topa, and YaLLa came back from the bench from a break because they wanted to protect their VRS points just to keep themselves in order. But one of the biggest issues here is that this new iteration of their lineup doesn't actually have a primary upper. Yes, you can look around. There's nobody that actually fills those shoes, and I feel like in this rebuild, the fact that they no longer have the experience and tenure of Fear as an IGL, and then you've got Topa, who is largely unproven at the highest level. I feel like that's going to create some issues, right? But I will say that there's a caveat that even back when Fear was playing with Passion UA, he wasn't really experienced up until that point. So, you know, that is a bit of a silver lining. Now, having lost their best players, having a rebuild coming through, I want to see if they can still maintain their composure.
Yeah, honestly, like, losing Fear, I thought would actually be a bigger hit than it really was. They sort of replaced him quite quickly. They, you know, were able to sort of just shuffle back in an old player, and it wasn't really a problem. But losing Jambo, sort of being poached by Fear as well, also being taken over to Fnatic. You know, as soon as they dropped Afro and said, oh, yeah, we need a new AWPer, Fear's just like, I know a guy.
Let me just dial some old numbers.
Yeah, and I think that was a massive hit, and has been a massive hit to the firepower that they haven't really filled yet. But on the other side of the coin, Metasport, a team that, as I say, have had really, really great results recently. Plopsky's been firing on all cylinders. Hampus has been calling fantastic Counter-Strike. Lumi, the man on that AWP that Passion will have to contend with. He's been putting up reasonable numbers, but I actually really feel like in his recent games he's had this aura of inconsistency. It's like a lot of key moments, a lot of key shots have been missed, and I don't know, in their games as of recent, there's been lots of times where I've sort of felt myself saying, Lumi, you really needed to hit that shot, you really needed to win that duel, and it's ended up costing them like quite important rounds, quite important scenarios. So that is something I'm going to be keeping an eye out for today. But generally a team that have looked very good recently.
Yeah, for sure. We get to see the head-to-head as well. I think firepower-wise, both of these teams have quite a lot to show, right? I think there's maybe a tiny bit more firepower in the squad of Metasport, but then there's definitely a couple things I would potentially give to Passion UA as well. But that being said, I think heading into the matchup, I am slightly favoring Metasport. Now, I think in terms of those grand victories on tournaments, there haven't been like too many positive results for Metasport, but that's also just because, you know, they have been making it quite deep into the runs, right? They nearly qualified for Astana. I think it was like a second place, it was a second place finish with like a very extended best of 5 being played. They ended up up losing on the final map. And when you're a team like that, I think even if you're not getting those tournament wins in the grand scheme of things, you're definitely doing quite well for yourself. And Metasport, you know, historically, their scouting and all, they've done a really good job. I think they are the type of team that will rebuild just fine. Now, we do have the Veto turning up on the bottom, and this is a bit unfortunate, isn't it, Josh? Double Anugas in a row? Yeah.
It actually doesn't suit Passion UA all too much, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they haven't had great results recently, so everything in their pool at the moment has reflected with a bit of a sort of poor win rate. But yeah, I think Metasport will definitely have the advantage here in terms of the numbers. Talking about that best of 5, they lost. That was just yesterday. They lost that best of 5 to NiP. It was in the evening. It was a brutal game. It went all 5 maps. They struggle with those best of 5s. They've lost 2 of them this week. They actually lost the grand finals of Galaxy Battle to Aurora as well. That one was a little more convincing in Aurora's favour, but still, it was fairly close Counter-Strike on the maps that were played. Lucky for them, no best of 5s today, right? It's literally the complete opposite, that best of 1. For the other side of things, though, Passion, I covered one of their games recently. It was against Sashi, and it was a convincing 2-0. And I came into today thinking, oh yeah, Passion, they've looked alright recently. I covered them against Sashi. They had a great game there. But when you contextualize it and look at all of their other matches over the past couple of weeks, they've actually been really struggling. So I think this is going to be a tough match.
Yeah, I think Passion UA are still trying to find their footing. And while both teams are still focusing on starting to come back into the scene, right? They've had changes. You know, we've seen some changes in Metasport. We've seen changes in Passion UA. While both teams are trying to get back on their feet, I feel like Metasport are doing a slightly better job so far. Now, I will say that I have faith in the scouting of both organizations. I think Metasport, they have furnished so many great players. You know, they were the ones that found Nilo, ZTR, Adam B. I'm still waiting on results from Lumi, but I think he'll also come around because his ceiling is really high. And then Passion UA, I think they need absolutely no explanations. They've done incredibly well. They were a super young team that was able to get as far as they did. So I'm still waiting to see the development of either squad in 2025, and I feel like this is a great way to be kicking things off. Now, granted, Passion, they have looked a bit shaky, right? Their recent results that you were talking about, contextualizing it with, it's not been great. It's not been all that, but it's okay. I think given enough time, we will see them cook.
Yeah, and of course, they're a very young roster with a very high ceiling. The same goes for Lumi, as you said right there. He looks a lot older than he is, doesn't he? Don't be fooled by the beard. He's only 23 and definitely still has his best years of Counter-Strike ahead of him. But yeah, that absolutely applies to these Passion UA boys. Obviously, losing Jambo, who was one of the younger players. I think he's 18 now, but yeah, obviously got involved with that Passion UA roster at just 16 years of age. They are getting a little bit older since we saw them hit the scene, but still, average age of this team is very, very young. It still has a very high ceiling. They just need a bit of time to sort of gel more. It's unfortunate that with those changes, they won't be making the RMR and things like that. At least it doesn't look like they will. They could cause some crazy upset if they have a really deep run here in the tournament and end up qualifying. I think it's technically possible, but this is sort of something we were talking about in the break a little bit. A couple of the teams that are participating are actually right on the edge of that VRS cutoff. So Namiga, who were just inside of qualifying for the RMR, after that loss against Complexity, are now just outside of it. And they need decent here and get a couple of wins under their belt today and tomorrow to actually sneak their way back in. And the same goes for one other side here. I've lost the page as well. I will double check. 1 second. It is 9 Pandas, of course. And Metasport kind of fall into that bracket too. They're sort of just inside as well by a few points.
I think they need to lose a couple matches for that to kick in though, right? So it's kind of weird, you know. I still don't fully understand VRS because I'm definitely low intelligence, but it's also you know, a bit tricky to grasp in general. It's almost a situation where not playing often puts teams in much better contention, which is rough. I didn't realize that was going to be an unfortunate side effect for VRS, but you know, we'll still try and wrap our heads around that in a little while. But I do want to bring the conversation back to the actual teams here for a moment. I do believe we have the knife round going on in the background because, you know, best of one, got to pick the sides, all that. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Metasport a little bit, right? I feel like as an org, it's almost like their players have a bit of a ticking time bomb attached to them, because when you scout players that are as good as the likes of ZTR, as the likes of YaLLa, right, it's only a matter of time where players start to graduate to better pastures, right? Unfortunately, Metasport themselves as an org, even when they have all those pieces, they haven't been able to play with the top echelons of CS. And we saw YaLLa go to Heroic, which kind of sucks because he's not actually even doing anything on their bench. We've seen ZTR go away. We've seen so many iterations of this roster. And right now, the thing that sort of screams at me is going to be Adam B. He is in a position where if he gets a really strong offer, if Metasport can let him go, then, you know, they'd have to start from scratch once again, try and rebuild the roster. So that's something you have to be worried about if you're Metasport. So, you know, the firepower is there, but for how long is going to be the question.
Yeah, and we've already kind of seen that. Adam B's twin brother, Susp, got picked up by Wildcard and went there as well, right? So, it is a case of, you know, Metasport either bringing in more investment and, you know, being able to hold on to these top players, or, yeah, as you say, you do sort of face this inevitable ticking time bomb where you scout this young talent. They find themselves sort of working their way up to hit that point where they're clearly a huge prospect, and then they're poached for the upper echelons for Tier 1. But right now, the way that Metasport are poising themselves, and, you know, if they do qualify, potentially qualify for the main, then perhaps they will see themselves as one of those contenders that players will want to stick around and build upon that. But ready to get things rolling here in our second map of the day. It's once again Anubis, and it's Passion UA starting off on their CT side.
And Metasport are going to be matching the pace of the previous game. A very early entrance into middle. Quem finds a kill, and Jack Hasmo is going to be chased down. He's going to back away, but there's 4 players in hot pursuit. Plopsky waiting for the cross. Isn't quite connecting any shots, and there's going to be a second one to try and assist. Just so damn difficult to land a shot when you've got flying birds on your screen. Zerofix tucked into B main. It's not going to be easy to actually get the bomb down, but by the time they do, the Sharks are already going to start to circle around them. Passion UA, 4 players ready and waiting to pounce. There's the headshot. Fem doing more damage. Lumi trying to fight back. Toppa in contention. It's Adam B, the player we were talking about a little while earlier as the big prospect here for Metasport. Still trying to fight back. There's the headshot, but running out of bullets means that Toppa will put him out of his misery.
Okay, with how sort of pacey things were there at the start of the round, just being given all that space into middle, I wasn't sure if Passion UA would be able to handle that heat, but they do. A couple of beautiful shots being connected. We didn't really put the spotlight on him all too much in that pre-game, but Clem has really been the one to look out for as a recent. He's been fantastic in the games that I've seen, and his ratings do somewhat reflect that as well. 2 kills for him in the pistol, Topper with the trifecta. Passion UA on the board in quite a nice fashion. They should be able to follow it up here as well. Metasport do go for the force. Remember, they got that bomb plant, so there's decent cash behind it. But Passion UA respond in kind. They get out those 3 A1Ss, making sure to give themselves the best chance of converting here. Ooh, it's aggressive.
Kill onto Hampus. And it's a good little start for Passion UA. If you're on the CT side, you want to make sure you can have some rounds so you can rest on your laurels later. But it's the kind of start we saw from Nemiga earlier. Fortunately, they weren't able to quite bank on it. Remember, they were in a 5-1 lead, and then they only ended with 6 rounds total. Ooh, that is a good shutdown from Jack Hasmo, still fighting with the P2K. And Metasport's aim as a collective isn't looking all that right now, Josh.
This is poor. Lumi down to 4 HP as well. Adam B's got to be the saviour to recover this round. Instead, it looks like Chilla might be the bearer of bad news. First point of contact with that MP9. Makes light work of the first. Trade is there, but Adam B knows he is sandwiched in here between a rock and a hard place. He won't be able to get much more done. So Clem will take another 2K for Passion UA with a fairly comfortable second round. And more importantly, holding on to all 3 of those rifles, only losing the MP9s, which puts him in a really powerful position.
Yeah, I really want to see how far Passion UA can take this. The CT side, a particularly fickle beast to deal with when you're playing Anubis. So everyone wants to get a head start. Of course, this is where some breathing room will be allowed. Meta support. Nothing to really fight back with. Oh? I was hopeful.
We can still hope.
Do you feel like Deagle skins affect your gameplay?
Yeah. If you got a Deagle Blaze, maybe.
I'm more of a Golden Koi guy, and we have both of them on the server at the moment, so it's nice to see. I just wish the Golden Koi was a little bit more golden.
I feel you. Silver. Well, oh, okay. All right, Hampus. Gives us something. In fact, gives us a little bit more. 2 kills there, as Chilla's able to trade it back. But, yeah, considering how that round started, I think they were hoping to keep it flawless. It doesn't end up being the case. Trying to pass along the Deagles. They won't be able to get both there, but it doesn't really matter. It's a 3rd round on the board here for Passion UA. Tidy stuff against the Eco. And Metasport, now their time to bite back. They have been very, very good recently in the best of 3s, but in so many of them have dropped a map and sort of came back in those reverse sweep situations and whatnot. Right here, there's no margin for error. There's no time for that. And giving Passion UA the early 3-0 lead has had a bit of a wrench to their plans. It's just an important one to convert.
Gotta be careful this time. Jack Hasmo off the angle, not expecting YaLLa, but is still able to make an adjustment. But elbow found does allow them to make sure it's still a 1 versus 1. I think one of the conversations we had about Passion UA was the lack of a super dedicated opper, and we're finally getting to see who's going to be picking up that slack.
Spams away. Nothing really connecting thus far. 4 versus 4 and 45 seconds on this clock. Passion UA with the aggression into main. They seem to be fairly confident that this is going to be a B hit. Kvem's going to start to go for this late pincer as well. This flank around the back. But in the meantime, the bomb will be tapped in. Incendiary just comes far too late. And Lumi will even get a kill out of it.
I think Passion UA are making an early election to get out of this. No, actually, they're going to stick around. Problem is that second prong is going to take way too long. Going all the way from T-spawn means that the bomb is only going to have about 15 seconds on it by the time they start to fight. And that's not enough. This is where you should be backing off. You've got to cut your losses and make sure you don't cut the rest of your blood supply. It's a nice little kill from Zerofix just to do a little bit of damage. And, okay. All the kills, but no real chance.
Alright, so first on the board for Metasport. Stressing the importance of that round. They are able to convert it, but as you say, losing all 5. Does swing the door open again here for Passion. So right back. They hold on to those rifles and get it all back out. Can't believe how expensive things turn out here for Metasport. Continuously taking these 1-for-1 duels. That was actually a filthy shot from Isaac. I didn't realize it when we saw it at the time.
Yeah, nasty little one tap. But Passion UA, the fact that they do so much damage is going to keep Metasport's economy honest. There is still a lot of work that Passion can do. The AWP, of course, being recovered as well off of the bomb site in the previous round. I want to see how Metasport play this. Just trying to take space over towards A. They still have a prong in middle just to make sure that there aren't any major transgressions, but B is largely underdefended.
This could be a little bit of an issue. And now Metasport, whilst they're all grouped up on the map, they're largely undecided. No commitments just yet. Fairly fast rotations between these two sites. It's one of the reasons that this map does poise itself as a little bit T-sided. Bounce between the two quite fluidly. Just a little bit of pressure onto Con there. I think they were hoping that would pull a rotation off. It doesn't. Passion still have a very good read on the situation.
Yeah, I think they're going to start to realize what's going on as YaLLa going to swing out. Oh, it's a dastardly spray with the M4. Double kill should be good enough. Now it's on to Quem to hold the line. No, he's got a couple members there to support as well. Topa finds a double, and he should be good for the triple, but he's got support. Oh, no way! Hampus has brought it down to just one. I took that for granted, but now it's doable. And he doesn't have any more bullets left in the Galil. Doesn't want to risk giving up the audio, so he switches to the sidearm, but Zerofix has his number. Passion UA nearly dropped that ball.
Really bold peek there at the end from Zerofix, just swinging it wide. But again, it's a good read. He knows exactly what Hampus is going for in that situation and kind of epitomizes the round a little bit. They'd read it oh so well. They'd stacked up the right bomb site. Not sure what Zerofix is looking for. But he's found him a fourth round, so it doesn't really matter. Metasport with another bomb plant, around about 3k in the bank, sort of scratching your heads going, well, we've got not quite max loss, but 2,900 to come in the next, so we can go for a decent buy here. Hampus perhaps a tad over-invested. The rest will be fine. Passion UA teeing themselves up for a fifth here.
A little bit of early control being found. Ooh, Zerofix. He's going to be chased down, but he does have some support, so he should be fine. Uh-oh, Topa. Call with his util out. Hampus takes advantage of it, and now that's an open B bomb site. Quem, hot. Oh, wait a minute. It's the bomb.
No.
Now all
Not
you
like
gotta
this.
do is make sure that nobody grabs it. All the way in the back. Oh,
no.
That's the one way they could have negotiated back into the round.
I mean, SChilla's going to get aggressive as well. Now with that information, he'll push all the way up to Rugs, but yeah, you're right.
Wait, hang on.
Feels like that opportunity has perhaps come and gone. That ship has sailed unless SChilla can do something magical here. Timing's perfect, but just slipping around the corner. Still an opportunity if he can get back there before they emerge around. Con, he'll take both.
No, but
the bomb is passed back over to Splopski. And they'll just plant it safe. He's got to win the 2v1 now. It's not enough.
He's not going to waste any time. SChilla's right in it, expecting there to be a player in pillar. Swings out. There's info on one. Trying to find headshots, but he's still found by Plopski. Metasport. That was nearly a fumble, but it's defended.
Oh, wow. Just crazy. That little buffer of him having to take that first fight meant that the bomb could just get into connector. And as soon as he dies, quite seamlessly just passed over to Plopski. Didn't even need to peek wide to grab it or anything like that. Unfortunate stuff there for Passion. That felt very winnable. But how can you win rounds when Hampus is hitting shots like that? He has come into this game fiery. He's 8-6. And Metasport are just against the full eco here. The economy game has been very back and forth, quite reminiscent of that first match of the day.
Okay, they should clean up. Zerofix is just such a nuisance behind that wall, but one kill with just a pistol, I guess they'll take it. Now, Passion UA are in a position where they realistically only have to get 1 or 2 rounds and they'll be quite happy with the CT side, so this is still a game that is very much developing and we have no idea where it's going to go. But Metasport, at the moment, they've got the responsibility of really bolstering that scoreline now. They've got the money working out in their favor. You've got enough money on a couple of the players to keep furnishing that AWP for Lumi as well. Can't say the same for Passion. They'll have to be a bit more careful. Oh!
Oh, they so nearly line up. That could have been the collapse for Lumi. Instead, it's just the trade. And into a fairly instant 4v4. Crazy. As Fem and Plopski just throw themselves at middle there. Have that scrappy battle. no one emerges as the victor. .20 on this clock. Metasport starting to regroup, head over towards the A side of things. Good flash. He's not going to fully clear it, though. Now he will.
YaLLa trying to buy time for his team. Here's the onslaught from the T's. And YaLLa's playing up close and personal. Are they going to expect him in the smoke? He's got the entrance policy of his teammate trying to serve a distraction. Zerafix finds another. But the flank is going to be everything, and Passion UA get away with a 5th.
That's a good round. Very well played as YaLLa just getting aggressive. Zerafix there as that great support. He's kind of by far and away been the weakest link in their recent matches, so it's nice to see him putting up those numbers here. Just acting as that supporting man. Casmo's flank comes at the perfect time as well.
You also really have to pat YaLLa on the back there. He realizes that he's got to buy enough time for the flank. So instead of electing to go back, instead he plays around the smoke because that is an endeavor that's going to waste way more time. Passion UA now 5 rounds on the board. They might even have a 6th in the back pocket, but they still have to get past a fully locked and loaded round from Metasport before they can try and fight for it. Now, funnily enough, if they want to really bring some oomph to that scoreline, this is the round to get, because off of this, you can suddenly get a freebie on top of it as well.
Play the delay game. But yeah, perhaps so. You know, similar to what we saw in that first match as well, the CT side just getting a little more than they bargained for early on. Passion UA are in a great position to extend this 5 rounds further. Even if everything goes wrong here, they lose the next 4 on the bounce. This is still a decent outcome for a CT side of Anubis. They're not going to be looking at that. Focusing on just converting and continuing their streak of dominance. Smoke blown open. Jacasmo just not quick enough to the trigger, though. It's Adam B to find the entry. I'm not sure if he's just spotted. I don't think he spotted YaLLa taking this place, so...
I mean, there's the
He's going to back off.
Yeah. Now, Kvem knows that he needs to get a little bit more aggressive. They need to bring it back to a 4-on-4, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Zerafix goes for these little peeks just to try and get information. He knows that there's 2 players that can eventually book it to connector. Plopsky's already in B main. Really difficult 3-prong push to contend with if they can allow Hampton to get all the way deep as well. Zerafix, though, he needs to hold the line, but he can't. Adam B has his number. And Topa just creating space for his team to try and come back into the site. But do they even want to go for this? They don't have all the money in the world, Josh.
Yeah, they're just going to pull the plug right there. We've got 1 kill on Topa. YaLLa's AWP is a really awkward weapon to try and retake with. And that lack of util as well, of course, would be problematic. Just a single HE, that single flashbang. Already hunting. I'm not the biggest fan of this. They don't have any money. Guys, there's still a fair few rounds left of the half to be played. You've got to keep a lid on that economy. So, after Adam B falls, perhaps a bit of confidence off of his double entry. They will give up any further prospects of pursuing those rifles. They hand deliver an AK, though, so Passion UA will get out of here with 2 of those T rifles. YaLLa with that AWP. And still a good shot, perhaps converting a 6th here in round number 10. First, we'll have a quick pause, though.
What do you think the conversation's looking like in this pause?
I'm not sure, because I think it might be a tech pause, so maybe no conversations.
Yeah. Well, that's sorted.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of sucks that we have to watch Anubis twice in a row, right? But I will say that this game is delivering. We're seeing a lot of action across the board.
Yes, absolutely. Jacasmo doesn't opt to pull the trigger and hit the foot, perhaps, there. Yeah, we've seen actually a couple of quite exciting maps of Anubis. Even though that first one was very, very one-sided, it didn't really feel that way when we're on the server, right? You look at the overall scoreboard and you say, wow, 13-6. Yeah, that was, you know, a stomp. But especially in the first half, it didn't feel like that at all. That is what concerns me at times. Remember,
I think
last time
all we
round,
remember is
6-6.
the first half, and then everything else just blended into this one beating from Complexity.
Yeah, it was a bit of a blur. And it sort of worries me a little bit with Passion UA on the cusp of 6 rounds here on their CT side. I know what their individuals are capable of when you get those AKs in hand. We might see a little taster of it here. Slower stuff, though. 45 seconds on this clock.
And that connector position, that first duel is everything, right? Isaac, Topa, whoever wins that duel gets so much space for their team, but right now, with barely any time on the clock, they have a lot of work to do, and Isaac will get things kicked off. Topa down. Jack Asmo quickly trying to come back into the site with his AWP. Vem finds one, thins the numbers, and they don't really have utility to try and cross over. It's just that one smoke. Sorry, flashbang that they use, but Jack Asmo's able to avoid it. Tucks himself into the corner, finds an elbow. And it's a 2 versus 2, and all is said and done, but there's bullets being fired back. Hadambi collects the bomb, has info on the last player, but he doesn't have the time, pulls out his rifle instead. There's so much time being wasted, and Vem will play it to perfection as he wastes just enough time for Adam B to be in the dark.
That is actually so beautifully played from Vem. It's both of them, to be honest. Chikazmo staying alive there in CT, drawing that attention away for as long as he does, allowing Vem to get relevant in the conversation. And then just at the end here, making the sound cue by stepping out, right? But actually just putting himself into new cover is enough to get him off the bomb, but not allow him to take that gunfight. It's just perfect from Vem.
And you know, Josh, this is something I was worried about. In this round, like late into the game, if Passion UA get more ground, it means that Metasport will be out of money, and that's exactly what's happening. Not only that, but losing this round would suddenly put them in no man's land where they can't buy yet again. So this is not a good showing for Metasport at the moment. Oh no. What a disaster. As YaLLa found, Vem's still wanting to fight back. Isaac is going to create opportunities on this A site, though. There's some HP missing, but there's an advantage now for the T's. Trying to cross over. Jack Asmo's not going to allow it. And with the bomb being planted, it's a 3 versus 2. Zero fixes nade, of course, finding that advantage. Quick to scope in. Doesn't find a target. Plopsky gets one, but Zero Fix is there to respond. And now the AWP player, Lumi. He has a rifle in his hands. Can he make the other side of the pond work for him? Both players lining up, knows that they're both off the angle, but Topa is going to disallow anything from Metasport.
There's no right way to play that necessarily. That's a really awkward 1v2, but the second that he jiggled confirmed that they were off the bomb. You think he'd use that as an opportunity to perhaps leverage a little bit more time there. He says, you know what? I need to go for the gunfight, and perhaps I can catch them looking back down at that C4 and trying to tap it. Perhaps catch the timing, but yeah, it doesn't end up being the case. As you say, the money just broken here for Metasport. We saw a shell of a buy in the last. We'll see much of the same here. Lumi was the only man with a rifle. He actually sells it, switches out to the Desert Eagle so that he can have some utility. So it will just be the pistols. Good chance here for 8 out of Passion, which is just crazy. Remember looking at the odds at the start of this game. They were no doubt the underdogs. They're not looking like it.
Yeah, Metasport on a bit of an island at the moment. P-site's the way to go. 3 defenders already lined up. Adam B through the smoke, but it's going to be Pop with a nade. Zero Fix is in the party as well. Isaac with a Tech 9 is ripping heads, but Topa has a response. It's Hampus to finally put an end to the shenanigans. Eschil and Jack Asmo quickly on the retake. MP9 out. Flashbang is good. Eschil is doing more damage, running out of bullets found by the Tech 9. Jack Asmo, AWP, does some work. Switches over to the MP9, which doesn't have any bullets. Gotta be careful, and Lumi will find his victim. Metasport at least one final hurrah before we go over to the second half.
Okay, well, Lumi kind of gets his revenge. I'd normally say when you're converting pistol rounds like that, you know, it doesn't scream any kind of consistency. It's a little bit concerning because you can't get it done with the rifles. It's only when you go for that change of pace with Tech 9s that yeah, you find that success, and it isn't anything to sort of feel too good about. But for the final round of the half, it is. That's, you know, all they can ask for. They'll be happy with that outcome. They can now kind of full reset, go onto this CT side. It's not a great half, don't get me wrong. They're going to need to pull out something special here to snatch this back their way. Perhaps we will see that something special. Jawley's dropped over to Plopsky. This pistol round will be the first foot on the ladder of a small comeback that's required from them.
It's maybe a small comeback in the grand scheme of the scoreboard, but when you consider the advantages that the terrorist side will grant you when you're playing Anubis, it's a bit more than just that. At least that final consolation prize is going to make things a tad bit easier. Don't want to start off 8-4. And this is a very different pace from what we've grown accustomed to, Josh.
It really is. It might be a sign of what's to come here for the Passion T side. Very meticulous, very thought out. Even without fear calling the shots, Topa is a worthy replacement, a player with a lot of experience. You can see him getting vocal here. Smoke into Temple. They're going to try and crunch through camera. Flashbang's good. Trade is brilliant. And the Glock drive-bys here on the A site are as good as it gets. Instant on the headshots. And Passion will get this bomb tapped in. Surely secure this round. There's nothing really to save here for Metasport. But there's not a lot to gain either.
Yeah, just some crazy fast skills coming out. You're right. Plopsky still wants to have a say in the matter, but yeah, they're just being shut down. Glock drive-bys has been the name of the game here, and with that kind of speed, you wouldn't even be surprised if they were throwing up gang signs to go along with it. Nice couple of kills, but that's it. That's just a consolation.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I mean, sort of making the best out of a bad situation there, Isaac, I guess. See the last. Maybe a chance for a 4K. Won't feed him. No opportunity. More importantly, it's an 8th on the board for Passion UA and getting off to a flying start here on the T side. Metasport, on their defense, this makes it really difficult. Either they go for a force buy here and losing it with hand-deliver Passion 10 rounds, or they eat the eco, they bite the bullet, they give them a freebie. It is going to be the former. There is now so much weight, so much pressure on them to convert here.
And if they don't, this game could end up exactly like the previous one, where we see a bit of a back and forth in the first one, or the first half rather, and then nothing in the subsequent half. Passion UA leaning heavily towards the A-bomb site. And the defenders there, they've got a scout and a pistol. This is going to be so hard to hold on to. YaLLa, the spearhead of this operation, to start moving in. They know that there's a couple players holding off from Heaven. There was some audio cue. And in a 5 versus 5 retake, Vem is going to get all the information as they start getting ready. Molly pulled out. Plopsky's going to be able to evade it. Zerofix starting to nail down some shots as well. YaLLa playing this to perfection, gets up close, gets up in their face, pulls out the pistol, and it's Adam B to still make it possible, but Topa has full health. This has to be a headshot, spamming away, but Topa's gonna have him. 9-5 for Passion UA as the money starts being decimated for Metasport.
It's such thin margins, and you see it again right there. The Deagle just spamming. He fires 3 shots, only connects 1, but one more bullet there would have converted that round and put Metasport in a much better position. It would have been 8-6. They would have had a real opportunity to then close this gap. when you contextualize the importance of this game. The standing here in the closed qualifier with the VRS points that come with it. It's those tiny, tiny little micro moments that can sometimes make all the difference. Down to a full eco now. Passion UA have a good opportunity to win a round and do so without casualties. Build up that economy a little bit for what's to come. There's still a long road ahead to close this out. If they find success, they can make it shorter.
Yeah, this round pretty much just seems like a foregone conclusion, right? We might just be watching a rerun of Complexity versus Nemiga if Metasport can't pull their pants up.
Hunting here as well. I kind of like this from Metasport, just saying, you know, there's really no need to give them anything. Don't give them the kill rewards. Don't feed them here. Make Passion work for their meal. See, perhaps the Eagle can find an exit, but it doesn't feel like actually he's going to be given such a luxury. Zero Fix is there to deny it. All right, so there will be a kill at least. It's not perfect, but it's not far from it. So Passion will take 10, 4 players stay alive. They'll be pretty happy with that. Now it's do or die for Metasport.
It really is, you're right. And Passion UA, they're doing really well for a team that has had the ground shake under them with the roster rebuild they have, right? They had to bring back YaLLa, they had to replace 2 players, right? So with Quem and Topa coming in, I feel like it's so impressive that Passion UA have been able to get right back on their feet. And some of the conversations we were having about Lumi's inconsistency, I think that conversation will still be around because he's not quite performing like a star opera at the moment. Uh-oh, that's a big miss, and he gets more opportunities, but he's going to be chased down. At least in the meantime, his teammates are doing good work. It's Hampus, it's Adam B. Oh no, this... Oh, I mean, I know they're winning the round, but this is unwatchable.
This is kind of what I was talking about at the start of the game as well. Just these little moments where you're scratching your head going, come on, Lumi.
Yeah, it's...
Won't have too much bearing, too much impact here in this round, but could have absolutely been one of those situations where that could have been a key duel.
This round would have already been over if Lumi was hitting his shots. Yeah, and now it's still doable. It's not an ideal case scenario for Passion UA, but it's doable. 3 versus 5, mid control still being contested for. Gonna go for another. 4 times the charm, question mark?
It doesn't even want to pull the trigger there.
Yeah, you just like, nah, we'll wait for next map.
Yeah. 2-man advantage. If he's not hitting his shots, then just get the information, stay alive. And just getting super aggressive here should actually pay off for him. You'll get all the information that they're not walking towards B. It is going to be a save instead. They'll just hold on to these rifles. And Hampus is hot on their heels. He might actually be able to deny this if he does swing into the T-spawn. I'm surprised he doesn't. But I guess the money's not great here for Metasport. So prioritizing their economy over pursuit of destroying their opponents is perhaps more important. It's the first step on a very tall ladder here for Metasport to bring this back. Timeout out of Passion UA. Talk things over. Topa rallying his troops. Come on, guys. We're this close. Let's just finish it off.
I mean, you've got the round advantage. You have the half advantage. I mean, based on the side you're playing. I think money is just a little bit lackluster for Passion, but that's something they can very easily work on. So, you're right. Topa's just got to rally his troops, and I think this is could be a much more doable affair. I think Metasport, some of the win conditions that I had going for them, you know, Lumi popping off shots and just some of the star power coming out from their players. I wouldn't say it's not there because I think Isaac, Adam B, Hampus are still all doing a really good job, but that's just not enough cylinders firing when everybody on Passion has a statement.
Number 17, who will make the statement here. No inconsistency on Metasport. That scoreboard's a little bit top heavy. As you say, for Passion, everybody pulling their weight here. A triple push into B main, though, could be the answer for perhaps an early kill, perhaps some information. Seems like Passion are the ones getting the information here, though. Staying alive is key, but Jacasmo can't do so for much longer.
Passion UA, their game plan is suddenly a lot slower than we grew accustomed to. Smoke's going to be impeding their progression, and that one piece of util will make them change their plans. I think the idea was to walk up into A, but knowing that they've already got a prong in B main, the fact that they can have a 2-prong push through connector and B main, having 3 players in connector, just suddenly makes them prioritize B a little bit more. Now, the delayed util from Metasport is quite outstandingly placed. It does throw a wrench in the works of Passion. So we'll see whether or not this works out. Here it comes. Plopsky trying to play around the corners. Isaac gonna swing out. Oh, but he's been spotted. Plopsky's buying so much time. Eventually caught by Kvem. But it's a 1 versus 3 when all is said and done. Bomb collected, trying to quickly just get the money, but even that is going to be denied. And Lumi hits a hard shot. Metasport, they might still be in it, Josh.
Plopsky just doing God's work right there to hold that B-bomb site. And, you know, one of the weaker links here so far in this map. He's not normally right up at the top of that scoreboard. But he steps up big, finds himself a triple. And a key time as well. Good opportunity for an 8th here. In fact, it should almost be guaranteed. Struggling a tad here. This is super aggressive from Plopsky. I'm quite surprised that he's going for a play like this in a round like this, but I don't know. You got to appreciate the confidence a little bit.
Yeah, and that gives them a lot of information. Now they've narrowed down the options to realistically just B. They can reel the numbers back in. They can start over-defending the B bomb site. They had a pretty good finger on the pulse outside A, but one bad timing could still bring an advantage about for Passion UA. A player circling around the carpets, and the fact that Hampus is being so proactive with his approach on A main does mean that he might get caught by a Tech 9. That's unfortunate. Yes, YaLLa. This isn't ready for it, but he'll still be able to adjust. In the meantime, though, it's going to be an endeavor towards middle. They're going to try and bunker down on Isaac. For the rotations, they are too fast, and yeah, you're not getting through that meat grinder.
Okay, so now we can start to really have a conversation about this, right? This game starts to tie up to a concerning point here for Passion UA. And whilst, you know, you kind of expect for your T side of Anubis to just look better, they've actually looked a little bit uncomfortable here with these rifles. We'll pull them out once again. No AWP available, but as you said before, there's no one that's necessarily picking up these primary AWPing duties in a lot of situations, so they will just come in with AKs as Chiller down to that Galil. A couple of boys that are capable with that big green, but no need for it here. Gun spams aren't far off, but neither will connect.
Plopsky, the flashbang is nicely timed, but it misses its mark. Passion UA about to pop into the B bomb site, preemptively throw, but Plopsky is expertly navigating around it now. YaLLa will start to finally poke in. Zero Fix found. Isaac's nade is good. Plopsky, a singular tap onto Jack Hasmo in the midst of the action. But Passion UA are still very much in it. Toppa trying to find some safe ground to get a plant going. Hampus, audio cue given up. A 2 versus 3 defense as they get geared up for the retake. Hampus, they know exactly where he is. The adjustment isn't quick enough though, and 2 players are trapped behind the smoke. They've got to play this to perfection. Quem sees a barrel in the corner. And getting past this is going to feel like an exercise, an impossibility. It's an AWP coming through as well in the hands of Lumi, who's not had a great game so far, and this round's going to be no different. Adam B creeping up close, but found by Toppa, and Passion UA get away with murder.
Kind of a ridiculous round to win, but it doesn't when you're this close to the finish line. The recipe is irrelevant if the dish is tasty. I think I'll be pretty happy with that. Them and Toppa teeing them up for success. Then a little bit of a pause from Metasport. And that was a bad round to lose. Looked like Hampus in there. Somebody else getting vocal in pause here. I wonder who. Everyone we've seen so far doing a listening.
Best of 1 with 19 kills and 8 deaths to his name.
Spot will deploy one of their own, just trying to run down this timer. Play the clock. Toppa's super aggressive here in middle. No one to contend with him. He will start to take liberties, stretch those legs out, wiggle those toes. As Metasport group up on A, they leave vulnerabilities elsewhere in their defense.
And somehow, the attack of Passion UA always ends up on this B-bomb site. And Toppa, he's found a little corner. He's found a window of opportunity. Now his team needs to create a distraction. Isaac will be able to shut him down. And now the rest of the players have to activate. Jack Hasmo, there's the first kill. Plopsky this time can't get up to any of his shenanigans. Hampus catches one on the cross. Nade is going to follow through to try and do damage. And that could have got someone, but it doesn't. Adam B still keeping this competitive. Clem's quite low. But do Metasport even want to go for their money is completely in shambles. You've got Plopsky on $0, and Lumi has an AWP that he's trying to prioritize. Problem is, that op hasn't even had the impact of a rifle.
Yeah, they just have to call it off. We haven't seen Lumi find a kill in a fair few rounds now as well. Sort of pointed him out down on 8. 4, 5 rounds ago, perhaps. Been really lacking on the CT side, and it's exactly where you need it to activate, right? In your T half, it doesn't have as much relevance. The CT side, the defender of large portions of map control, becomes key for that sniper to be hitting those shots, and it's just not delivering here. Passion UA with 4 chances to close this out. And I did wonder if this format would favour Metasport. I said, you know, they've struggled with the best of 5s, but the best of 3s has been the sweet spot for them. Often dropping a map, but prevailing. Coming out the victors. Super aggressive. Oh no, he hasn't found the kill though.
The biggest issue here is that now 2 players are committed outside A, and everybody else on Passion UA, they can start getting up to their dirty work on middle, on B. Adam B is going to be forced off the angle. Hampus at least going for the circle around. He's being watched, but how does he win that duel? As YaLLa will get caught out. 0-6 on the crossover will be able to get some information. And this round is honestly all over the place.
Yikes. I loved the aggression, the initiative there from Hampus. The fact that he even gets that opportunity to find YaLLa in the end is bonkers. And puts it down to a 4v4. Just less than a minute on this clock, and they are going for a major commitment. right through mid. They've left A completely undefended. In the next couple of moments, they will realize, and they tee themselves up for a good position on the retake, kind of, but they've made the wrong read here. They're wrapping around B. They will now have this information. Look at Hampus' flank. Again, he's just off with the timing.
Oh, but Lumi's hitting his shots now. Might be the difference maker. Passion UA, they've gotten onto the A bomb site and they've gotten the bomb down, but is that going to be enough? They need to watch for the flank and they won't be able to. Hampus catches one victim. Adam B on the offense, and there's just too much to do here in a 1v4. But Jack Asmo isn't going to be able to furnish. 3 more chances for Passion to come right back in and out of this.
It's such a chaotic round, and you know, through our rose-tinted goggles, it's so easy for Passion. For so long, that A-bomb site had nobody on it. And they could have just waltzed right in and planted that bomb. Of course, they had no idea. They ended up wasting a lot of time that Metasport used to get into good positions. Once that site was lost, instantly snapped back with a retake. It was a key shot hit from Lumi there on the entry as well. Finally seeing him activate with that AWP a little bit. Definitely need to see better out of him in the next 3 rounds if he can deliver more moments like that. There's absolutely no reason why Metasport couldn't take us to OT here. It's a calculated save from Passion. Them on that AK, the rest just down to the pistols. They want to get those big guns out as quickly as possible.
I mean, even in this position, right, I wouldn't exactly count Passion UA out. This could still be the round where they close it out, so Metasport have to be very careful. Boost being set up, Lumi's all too ready for it, but how does he not win that duel? That's inexcusable as Kvem gets a double, and now this is a fast ticket into the A-bomb site. A second prong brewing. Adam B's gonna have to watch out. And as you start pouring into the site, Adam B's gonna have to do everything, but in the meantime, his teammates are turning up the heat, and despite the double entry, it's just YaLLa remaining in a 1 versus 3.
He hasn't really got anything to lose here.
That shouldn't have gotten so close. That should have never happened, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a round that they're expecting to win, right? But they fancy their chances after the double entry. It's a small mistake made by Metasport. Passion UA have been very, very good at capitalizing upon them. You can't really give them anything. Of course, they'll punish.
I mean, I hate to say it again, right? I feel like a broken record, but in that position, Lumi should have never allowed them to pour on through. Like, he was very specifically playing anti-boost, and he just doesn't find the kill.
I think he would, and the rest of the team would be kicking themselves if they actually ended up losing that round and losing it in that kind of fashion. I mean, you've got to give credit where it's due. It's incredible work out of Kvem. Metasport did do very well to just keep a lid on things. Make sure that that round doesn't go too sour. Now they'll be up against the pie. That's YaLLa down to the Galil. Rest on the AKs. Metasport know that this round sort of acts as a bit of a 2-for-1, right? If they win this round right here, Passion UA will not have very much to work with in the next, especially if they don't get a bomb plant. They'll be teed right up for overtime. 4 rounds can convert very quickly when the economy's fragile here in MR12. Metasport looking to give us a good example of it.
Yeah, almost do or die now for Passion UA. 2 players on the defense. They'll call in the rotator as well. Util starting to pour in. Plopsky needs to be perfect. He does damage on the second. Isaac getting ready now. Avoids the Molotov. And they're going to chuck a secondary piece of Util just to make sure that Passion have a much more difficult time getting onto the site. Isaac down. Topa will be the one to be the assailant. More utility trickling in. Adam B continuing to dish out the damage. It's a 1v3 when all is said and done, and Kvem is in such an awkward position to deal with the verticality of two players swinging into him. I think that second shot connecting from Plopsky just did them so many more favors.
That nade from Lumi as well, it is absolutely brilliant. Momentarily, that was a 4 versus 3. That HE just finding the one kill to even out the numbers, and then the extra damage as well, just making Adam B's fights that much easier. Tease him up for a triple. Ready to get back into the action though. Some last words out of Hampus as they move into round number 24. I said that the money would be very, very rough here for Passion UA. That's exactly the case. Couple of Mac 10s, 2 Galils, a Desert Eagle to try and get this over the line.
For a game that felt like a foregone conclusion for a little while, Metasport have breathed life back into it. Despite the big fumble that could have allowed an eco to culminate, they're able to keep their composure. Final chance at a round victory for Passion UA, and the denial of overtime. Is that going to come through?
Well, they've sort of given up the space on the bottom side here, so C4 will go down, but nice and composed. Metasport don't want to be taking these individual fights and risk losing the early advantage. So instead, they'll group up, play it together, all 5 here for the retake. And it's in position to deny this defuse. So we will be going to overtime, folks. Metasport get it done. 4 rounds in a row. And, well, it's now anyone's game for the taking.
Brilliant showing from Metasport. The fact that they keep their composure when Passion are starting to come away with it, it's very, very impressive. And they're able to do it without their offer really functioning at the highest level, right? I feel like there were a couple times towards the end where Lumi came alive. He was able to stop one of the pushes with his AWP on the crossover all the way from A connector. He had a really good nade on one of the retakes. I think now he's starting to have some life come back into him. But I think as a unit, for the most part, Passion UA have looked a little bit better. Surprisingly enough, it's the CT side where Metasport are able to bring it back. Slow start.
Falls quite nicely into this narrative of sometimes having these slower starts to the series. Drag out this best of one. And Metasport will start to warm up. Fire on all cylinders eventually, and that's sort of what we're seeing now. These last 4 rounds have been fantastic, near perfect Counter-Strike. Even staying composed when they give up a bomb back, wait for that retake. Lumi, key shot, connects it. It's the early advantage for them here. The minute on this clock.
Passion UA slowly circling around the B bomb site. Waiting for the util to expire, but it feels like they've got endless pockets of stuff to stop them with. Isaac being very careful. Oh, that's an awkward way to come into the bomb site. A piece of util hits Isaac's head. Plopsky holding down the line with his teammate. Zerofix can't really do much. And as Passion UA come in, they will be mowed down.
Metasport show here in the second. All right, back in with a buy. It's Kvem to pick up the AWP here for Passion. Rocking the full pink. I love it. Same as me. Pink chair, pink headset, pink mouse. Oh, I'm jealous.
Me too, Josh. Me too. Well, after a game of pretty much dominance from Passion UA, Metasport have finally taken over them. A little bit of pressure on the brakes from Passion UA will mean that Metasport are able to floor the gas and get past. The defense surprisingly potent, and I feel like the rotations from Metasport have been so good. Oh, I love this. They take initiative late in the overtime. They've not done this before, and that's why Passion aren't even ready for it. Now the bomb's going to be dropped in an awkward position. They have to go on an extra mission just to try and get that. And in the meantime, Metasport, they've gotten away with so much.
I absolutely love this. The initiative, even here in OT, this late in the game. They've got pages of the strat book that have been unopened. It gives them that early two-man advantage. We will see one trade back. That's Kvem. Plopsky instantly, just on the damage control, drops that smoke. Wants to try and play around it. YaLLa, with no respect for the cloud, walks through instead. Plopsky shouldn't be ready for this. In the next couple of seconds, he'll entertain the idea that perhaps they're coming out connector, but not this far up.
Oh, yeah.
And YaLLa will even out the numbers. This is brilliant.
Just so difficult to make that adjustment if you're not ready. Lumi needs worked for him before, but can't get too cheeky with it every time. Waiting for the teammates to start materializing on the extremities. You've got one in connector, at least, sorry, in B main. Connector, CT, that's Adam B starting to be a problem. Top lane Kvem, both down. YaLLa's got everything to do, and they're circling around him. Lumi grazes him with a bullet, and that is all they need. Metasport, a brilliant showing on the CT side. They're looking undeniable.
They really are, and it's just Adam on these retakes again. Look how fired up he is. 25 and 15, and yeah, rarely actually finding the opening fights in these rounds. It's him that's sort of called upon to be the savior in these 3v3, 4v4 retake situations. Started off oh so well. Felt like Passion had perhaps taken off their training wheels a little bit when they were able to trade back. They found a really good gap, a really good timing there, YaLLa. Just not able to convert off of it. Been given mid for free here. Hampus playing it from a little further back. Timing really everything when it comes to this gunfight. He's just going to reel it in, give him the space. Oh. It's like a retake here on 8.
It's such a difficult position to contend with. He's playing right around the smoke. They bump into him. Kvem's eventually going to find him. Lumi tries to hold them off, but another miss from him means that they've got access to the site. That looked like it hit. Isaac still trying to be a problem. Stays close in contention. Wants to keep them honest. And a Molotov will go over to the bomb site itself. Tries to get the bomber off. Hampus is caught on the retake. Isaac still tries to be an issue, but YaLLa will quickly put him out of his misery. 13 rounds for Passion, a small recovery, but it was much needed to give them a chance at recovering.
It's that one round that Metasport sort of lose that composure. It all gets a little bit scrappy, a little bit hasty in the retake, going in one by one. And I know we've been on a... I'm not going to call it a Lumi hate train, but, you know, like, been criticizing when he's been missing key shots and stuff. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. I don't know where the hell that bullet went. Looked like it was bang on the money. Just a really, really unfortunate one to not be connecting. Either way, he goes 1 for 1 there, and I'm not sure it has any major change on the outcome of the round. But it should have been an extra kill going their way, I guess, and perhaps... just that slight window of opportunity for him to pull off some heroics and connect to second. Either way, they'll end the half with the advantage, 14-13. One more to secure double OT. 2 to close this one out. 16, of course, that magic number. Poison themselves towards the east side.
Oh no. Great opening by Lumi. Them fights back. Metasport. They can have full control of the B bomb site if they just play their cards right. And slowly as the flames start to expire, that's exactly what they'll be looking to do. Isaac spearheading this push. Kvem tucks himself into a corner, buying space for his teammate to try and be a problem. And as they're wasting time, the reinforcements will start to come in. Both defenders will win their respective duels, but Hampus is going to continue to try and be a menace. Third kill found. Can he get the 4K? No, he cannot, as YaLLa denies and keeps Passion UA alive.
What was that from Hampus? He just locked right in for a second there. Went nuclear with a 3K.
Just needed a little bit more gas, didn't he?
Yeah. That's such a shame. He was so low as well. I mean, YaLLa gets it done with a headshot, but it does knock your confidence when you're taking that final fight with less than 10 HP. Metasport will call a pause there. To be honest, I mean, other than Hampus's heroics, that round was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it? And whilst you can come away from it, it's how it came down to the 1 versus 1, and let's not worry too much. You expect them to a little bit, because yeah, Hampus just trades 1 for 1 there. That round doesn't even come close. This is a super important one.
Somehow, some way, even on the CT side, teams have been managing to find a way to bring it to a stalemate.
This would be heartbreak if Passion were able to just take the next 2 here. Metasport, after all their hard work to pull this back to OT, to take the advantage in the first half. Get denied. Trip over the final hurdle. And miles ahead in the race. Get overtaken. Looming. MVP does not pull the trigger. Won't go for the pot shot through the smoke. Crosshair was on it. Misses the opportunity. Metasport will just stay quiet. Looks like they're going to try and go for a B split here.
A very real prospect that we end up seeing double overtime, Josh.
Yeah. I'm all for it.
Yeah, it would be very fitting. I think you and I were both a bit split back on the desk. Is it going to be Metasport? Is it going to be Passion UA? Well, I don't know, but it's definitely been a hell of a good game. Nicely timed nade. Now, on to the meat and potatoes. Zerofix will try to hold down the line from the back of the site, but it's all Metasport lighting up the scoreboard. But Jack Hasmo and Fem, they're still making it possible. A 2v3 could be in the cards. Flashbang avoided as Jack Hasmo tries to get closer. They'll all start reeling their numbers back in towards B main. The CTs still have to be a little bit careful with how they check out these corners. Plopsky will find a victim. And Kvem's still worried about a flank. There is no way in hell that this is possible, and Metasport might be able to pull a fast one on Passion UA.
A much better execution there from Metasport. I was a little bit worried when they were teeing up towards that B site. I'm thinking, you haven't had much success. The last 2 rounds that you got for this B execution has not worked. They convert it right there. Just key entries going to key pieces that have been firing up. But, you know, we've been singing all the praises to Adam. Hampus has had his moments, but not too much spotlight has been put on Isaac here, who's been this consistent factor, now catching up. 24 frags to his name. A couple of big fights won there for him that tip the scales in their favour. Opportunity now, the first time they will have a map point here. Will they take it, or are we going to double overtime?
This could be it. This could be everything. Adam B. The opening is good. If Isaac wins the duel, I think he's about to head into Josh. I think this could be over before we ever get the luxury. Multiple overtimes. Here it comes. What a shot from Kvem. And an over-rotation from Passion UA could grant an opportunity elsewhere on the map, but it also really solidifies their chances on B. Hampus watching for YaLLa. Somehow wins the duel. YaLLa will grant them access into the A bomb site. And Hampus will solve the challenge that awaits him. A 4 versus 3, an advantage for Metasport. Kvem trying to bring the numbers back and even. 2 players already halfway down. Jack is no at least keeping the numbers honest, but this could be a good spray from Adam. That's 1 kill already. A second duel. Toppa still keeping this in contention. A 1 versus 2 that he's got to negotiate. There's no backing out of this one, and there's an AWP watching for him like a hawk. Nade is perfect, and Plopsky will have the last laugh as Metasport will disallow any more extensions of overtime, and they will win 16-14 in a very hotly contested game.
Jeez, even in that last round. YaLLa, so unfortunate losing that fight there in camera. Felt like he put 3 bullets into Hampus before that shot was even fired back, but it just gets a little bit messy in the later stages of the spray. 16-14. You know, I can sit here all day long and say I was harping on about Metasport. I was confident they were going to take that game. That was anything but a confident performance. I think that'll be sort of wiping some sweat off the forehead and feeling a little bit relieved that they're able to pull that off. But yeah, good work from Passion UA. As the underdogs coming into that map, they gave us some great moments, and I think that they're a real contender here for the rest of the tournament. They're just going to be a little disappointed that they weren't able to finish off the job there. Remember, they were 12-8 up. It's always sore to lose in that kind of fashion.
Yeah, it really did feel like they were going to be able to get it over the line. And, you know, there's still many conversations we can have about the scoreboard, but you've got to see how close the kills are for Passion UA versus the disparity on Metasport. It really did feel like there was a lot more carrying going on in the Metasport department, right? And you know what? Final time I'll have this conversation, but Lumi really needs to be stepping it up. Like, this time Metasport's, the rest of Metasport's squad is able to save him, right? The fact that Adam B gets away with 29 kills, the fact that Isaac is doing well, Hampus has a couple of brilliant moments there, but you can't expect that every single time. So many moments where I feel like this game would have ended way sooner, perhaps even in regulation, if Lumi was stepping up. Those were big missed opportunities.
Yeah, especially for Europa. It does have to be said on the other side of things, though. Zerofix and Jacasmo having a very, very slow game of their own. Topa, the man calling the shots, up at the top end of the scoreboard alongside Kvem, that star player. So, yeah, some pieces really not delivering here, I think, was the bottleneck for potentially both of these teams, but definitely for Passion UA right there. Going into the rest of the day, though, and you know, the 2 days for the closed quals, you're right. Lumi needs to just be stepping it up, that extra notch for Metasport to take that leap.
On that note, I'd like to remind you that Passion UA is currently a roster that doesn't quite have a dedicated opera, right? So for Lumi to be struggling in that instance, this is a problem that's going to be exacerbated even more when you actually do play against a dedicated opera. That being said, though, yeah, for sure. Now, of course, that's not all the action you're going to have for today. This was a really, really hotly contested match, but I think we might even be able to top this with how many more best of ones we have for you remaining. Next game, 9 Pandas versus Imperial Valkyries. We'll see you there.
She said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. One expert.
On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drops, popped up behind it at the edge of...
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go!
Welcome back, everybody. That was a short break. We're about to go live with 9 Pandas versus Imperial Valkyries. Of course, I've got Josh with me for the inside scoop, or any scoop for that matter. Honestly, I'll take what I can get. Josh, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. This is a very interesting game. We kind of broke it down with each other throughout that pre-game as well. Just this interesting curveball with 9 Pandas playing with a stand-in today. So I'm excited to see what we've got in store. I covered an Imperial Valkyries game the other day against the Static, and it really, really delivered. It was a very close game. We saw some great moments out of the Valkyries, and I think that they could certainly bring something to the table here, especially in a best-of-1 format and a slightly vulnerable 9 Pandas with Anikes playing today. Could really be the
thing
recipe
is,
for them.
The thing is, right, 9 Pandas are kind of in this uncertain direction where we're kind of watching their growth pretty much live in the coming months, right? They don't quite have an actual offer, but I guess right now their roster is just a lot of pieces being shuffled around. They had Alv that they brought in for about a month and a half before they ended up getting Kyron, and then now they have Krad into the mix as well. But problem is, Kyron's not going to be playing with them today. They're going to have Anarchas, who hasn't really been playing in months. So it's kind of an interesting decision because, you know, this is something we talked about in the pregame where teams are often risking losing too many VRS points if they end up losing, which also does potentially knock them out of RMR qualifications, which, you know, it's just an interesting decision to take. Perhaps in this kind of instance, teams could be electing to sit tournaments out. But we'll see whether or not 9 Pandas can still perform. Now, even with their full roster, you know, they were bombing out of PGL Astana. They were struggling against some of the better teams in the CCT series. They only had 2 top 4 placements in 2025, which, you know, it isn't the worst with how competitive some of the tournaments have been, but 9 Pandas, they definitely have a lot of work to do on the rebuild. Now, I do want to talk about Imperial Valkyries as well as we head over towards the other side. Now, they very recently, you know, they've had a bit of a mixed bag of results. They didn't quite get to play Kato with their full lineup. You know, they were playing with their coach Bubble, since that is an open tournament. And they bombed out of Galaxy Battle. And although they are extremely dominant within the female space, I do think that they're still, they do still sort of have to prove themselves within the open circuit, right? So I think this is a really good stepping stone for them, because one of the conversations that I think has been like a bit interesting is that generally this type of team is just thrust against Tier 1 CS, and then people are like, oh, bad performance, bad results, and like, you know, like the whole like stigma around it. But I think being able to first play against like Tier 2 opposition, kind of ease into the game, I think this is perfect grounds for Imperial Valkyries to be warming up for some of the big dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this tier is where they sort of find their place a little bit and then can climb up. Like, you know, a lot of the other Tier 2 teams in this kind of space are doing right now. But yeah, being thrown into a lot of those Tier 1 games, I'm completely on board with you. But some key pieces to look out for here today. Zaz, amazing on the rifle. She'll be in this head-to-head. I did want to sort of focus on Anna a little bit as well on that AWP. She can have some amazing moments, and definitely saw some of those in that game against the Static the other day. Some big highlights. But yeah, there's that head-to-head result on the other side of things. The Panda to look out for. But yeah, I think that there's just this really, really big unknown with the Annika stand-in situation. We saw him sort of rocking like fairly high ratings, but that can be completely disregarded because he hasn't played in months. He was part of that BC game roster. He was then dropped from that team in October last year, and since then he has played nothing other than a couple of qualifiers with mixes. So we really don't know what's in store for us. Historically, he's been a very good player. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see out of him today.
You know what the weird thing is? It's that the full lineup of 9 Pandas have a bit of a not having an upper situation, but when you have a stand-in in the form of Anarchist, suddenly that problem is solved. So, I don't know, maybe it works out.
Fine.
We'll have to wait and see, right? But yeah, we've got the Veto rolling up as well. We'll simply have Anubis Train Ancient to be taken out first, and surprisingly enough, when all is said and done, we get to watch Inferno. Now, a quick reminder for the viewers who don't have a finger on the pulse, Inferno recently had some changes, and now it's become even more difficult for the CT side to hold, with Banana having been widened. So, that being said, in a best-of-1 scenario, I expected teams to just be electing out of Inferno completely, just so they wouldn't have to deal with that smoke. Now, the fact that
especially
we end up
with the changes happening yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I don't think any teams have really had time to, adapt to it in any kind of way. So yeah, I'm with you.
Can I tell you a secret? I haven't actually seen what new Banana looks like.
Me neither.
So
I hate Inferno. It's my permaban. I've been playing the last couple of days, but I hate Inferno, so I don't touch it anyway.
Okay, so I really want to see how much wider it is. I've only heard of it in the news. That's my cope.
Well, seeing those odds, 9 Pandas definitely the favourites, but as you say, I think that this could be a little more interesting than I think those odds are giving credit for. I'm glad to see Anubis just banned out as well. It's the Imperial Valkyries permaban, so I knew that was coming, but just that confirmation as soon as it's gone, it's like, whew, no more Anubis. So a change of scenery, which will be nice. But yeah,
but it's weird to go from like, oh, we had to watch Anubis twice, into now it's a map that we already didn't like, that now also has changes. You know what, though? I think the changes could be fun. That's something that's at least going to keep Inferno a little bit fresh for me. Still not a big fan of the rotation times, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, a conversation you had a little bit earlier with me is that, Imperial Valkyries, they have been quite good recently, especially against the Tier 2 opposition. I already talked about how generally the conversation around female teams is that they're thrust into these Tier 1 competitions, and then, when they predictably don't have good results, there's just going to be a lot of stigma around it. But I think being able to play a qualifier like this one, where you first get to play through the gauntlet of Tier 2-ish teams, that gives them a much better chance. And I think that's like the appropriate way to go for the development of any team, regardless of sort of what space they're coming from, right? So I think it's going to be really fun to watch, and this could be a very, very closely matched game.
Well, hopefully we're ready to get into things very shortly. I'll jump back to the banana debate for a second, though. How wide does it have to get for it not to be banana in?
How girthy does it...
Yeah.
That's the wrong word. But yeah, I think when it is wider than it is long, like, I'm trying to, like...
Oh, come on.
Okay, fine. Like, listen, you can't have a conversation about the width of banana without it getting weird, okay, Josh? Like, that's all on you. But yeah, I'm not answering your question in earnest, unfortunately. But it's gonna be fun to watch. I'm actually quite excited. I want to see how the changes are going to affect the game, and I think it also tests the adaptability of teams. I think off the cuff changes, or being able to just adapt off the cuff in these individual scenarios, that can really test the mettle of a player.
Yeah, now, I actually haven't looked at the difference at all. I don't know if this is the case of widening it by like half a meter, or whether it is actually like a bigger change. So I'm kind of like, I'm kind of interested to see how that's actually going to affect utility and things like that. I think that's.
I like how you and I both I like how you and I both elected not to see the update just so we can have this conversation. I love it.
Oh yeah, calculated completely. But yeah, how it will affect util and whatnot. If that means that a molly still covers the whole of, you know, the width of it, or whether you can slip around it and perhaps you need multiple Molotovs, things like that. I imagine with the way that the smokes work, a smoke should still, you know, cover the whole of banana. But yeah, it's just sort of a few interesting things to kind of keep an eye out for today.
I'm not really sure why we're not quite live with the game just yet. I do think we should be getting word on it. But you know, in the meantime, I do want to bring the conversation back to some of the stars that we're expecting to see shine. Because it's a conversation we had in the previous game as well. Want to have that again here. Who do you think from the Imperial Valkyrie squad is the one that you're personally going to have an eye on, you know? Because there's so much to go around, right? Like, Ana is known for her, like, notable AWP abilities. Zaz has all that experience. I think 23 has had incredible firepower. So is there anyone that you're particularly going to be watching?
I think Zaz in general throughout the whole map, definitely. I think she's just kind of been the superstar of this team for a while now, and there's no surprise about that. But specifically Ana on that CT side. T-side AWPing on Inferno could be really, really awkward. So I don't think we'll see much action out of either sides of the coin. I don't think we'll see much AWP action out of Anakez there either on that T side. But yeah, when they're on their CT half, whether it be starting on it or in that second portion of the map, Ana on that AWP definitely watch out for.
Well, we're going to be heading right into the swing of things. 9 Pandas versus Imperial Valkyries. 9 Pandas on the CT side, Imperial on the T.
Ready to get things rolling here in the pistol. Shelfie with a HE grenade. Crad's got a couple of flashes, but no jewelies, no shenanigans, just the core pistols. Over on the other side, a very heavy util setup. Cat and Tori with it all to work with. A lot of it dropped over to Zaz as well. They're going to lean over towards this A bomb site, perhaps playing for an execution. Anna's here ready in the boiler.
Oh. Shot being popped off. Diladez finds one. Cat is able to respond in kind. Diladez taken away in the bomb site. Not sure why we've only got one camera for everybody. Everybody's maybe cosplaying, but 3 versus 4. Imperial comfortably nestled on the A bomb site. And don't get me wrong, Diladez was really good to stop the initial onslaught, but it is a pretty big advantage now, but this could be the opening that they needed. Shalfie, he's done God's work coming out of the apartments, looking for more heads. Cat is going to be down. Zaz circling around the bomb site, already 3 kills to her name, playing it to near perfection, wasting so much more time, comes around the corner, eventually caught, but that's okay, because they've already done their job. Imperial kicking things off with the pistol.
That's a huge round. Zaz has done very well there to not only find 3 kills, but just delay at the end. Getting a little bit scrappy with the shots, but it's all just about buying time. Making that bomb go boom. Imperial with that first down, and, you know, a little bit of extra cash that comes with that C4 going down as well. They'll come in with the rifles hit. AK, 2 Galils, 2 MAC-10s, a forced buy out of 9 Pandas. Shalfie with a triple. Has a little bit of extra funds to pull out that M4. The rest down to weaker weaponry. And Anakez, I've actually seen some magical scout plays out of him in the past, so I'm a little worried here.
Oh, that's a really good
big kill
collection
from Shalfie.
And Shalfie was the one that was spearheading the potential of getting the pistol round back. He's going to be leading the charge this time as well. Bit of a slow approach this time. It's just going to be Zaz over towards the B bomb site, making sure that they can't bring comfortable rotations over. But the fact that this is a 3 versus 4 means that 9 Pandas can pretty much just play a static setup, and they should be just fine. I think the weaponry is the only real limiting factor here.
Yeah, certainly could be. Anakez with that scout. They have just pulled a 3rd man, though, over towards this B bomb site. So as Anakez lands the tag, it just makes it a little bit easier. fed on a spoon to the MP9, but on the peak, 23 returns the favour. She'll actually find 2, but Shelfie on the rotation will plug the bleeding, and it's all onto the shoulders of Cat. She'll eventually trade out the man at the back of the site. That's Anika's going down. With 25 seconds left, taps the bomb. Oh, timing just about allows it to slip back into dark. Molly for CT won't be deployed.
Oh,
perfect.
Oh, Cat
forced forward.
narrows it down to just 1. Trying to stick the bomb now right behind the pillar in the fountain. Dilladez knows exactly where she is. It's all about just hitting a singular shot, and it will come through. Brilliant stuff from 9 Pandas. It got really close. Could have been clutched by Cat there, but Imperial, they're going to be kicking themselves for allowing that second round to materialize for 9 Pandas. Money is going to be real awkward.
And Dilladez does well just not to overcomplicate things there at the end too. Just holding the angle with that 5-7, knowing that Cat's super low. He only needs the 1 bullet. They should be happy with that, but Imperial finding 4 kills, bomb plant still means money, so rifles will come out again. A little bit of an unfortunate way to conclude that second round, that's for sure. I'll have another stab at this with some decent equity. 3 AKs out, there we go, they're being tossed around for a second. I wasn't sure if someone was going to opt to sell. Question here on Banana.
Brad trying to be a bit more hopeful. Ooh, 2 for 1. I think that's a special that Shelfie will be super happy with. Really a singular casualty for 9 Pandas, and Imperial already being shut down. Couple AK-47 still remaining though on Tori and 23. We'll see if they can make it work. Lurker in the form of 23. Wanting to poke around the extremity, that is a apartment. Banana doesn't look that much wider.
I was just about to say, yeah, it doesn't look that much wider. It's definitely still a banana.
Agreed. Maybe we should have waited for that conversation until we actually saw it.
Yeah. I wouldn't have even asked the question. Banana. Oh, 23. That's huge. Sees the barrel, lands the head, but second she falls out of the balcony. Anika's just has that freebie fight. No accuracy in midair. C4 will at least go down, so Imperial are 3 for 3 on bomb plants. But needs to try and convert this 2 versus 3 clutch. In doing so, with limited resources, this is going to be tough.
Oh, Tori's kind of tunnel vision on the player tucked into the corner. They need to bring it down to the 2 versus 1 quick. Oh, Cat, that's a brilliant spray. But Anarchiz has brought it down to just 1. Cat wanting to play around the smoke, and there's not a whole lot of time. Anarchiz knows that he doesn't have a kit. Can't even get on the bomb, and it's a beautiful shot from Cat to end things. A 2-1 for Imperial, and they'll be able to get things right back.
Nice smile on Cat's face at the end there as well. She knows she has done incredible work there to get that one over the line. Bit of an oversight from 9 Pandas to just send it up short, only focused on the site player. The 1 league at the end, just the cherry on top. Round was already won. Icing on the cake. Shelfie. The M4 rest on the pistols. Imperial with a good chance to make this the 3rd.
Very careful play coming out from Imperial. Starting to lose players. 4-on-3, Shelfie out with the USP. Does have a window of opportunity to back off, but Imperial are a bit too scared to challenge this madness. Zaz starting to creep up Banana. 2 players to find. The lineup is good, but Result will be able to stifle the blow. And in 23, they've got a lot of work to do. At least Shelfie and Result are quite low, so this is possible to reel it back in. Love Shelfie's little repositioning here, though. will be hard to catch. 23 gives them an audio cue. It's a labored spray. And now Imperial, they've got some wonderful footing on this bomb site. Anarchis already crept up close, though. They're going to have to watch out. Will they expect Anarchis to already have made it this far? But the CT is quite low. Headshot is instant. It's a labored spray again, and 23 will be unable to find Anarchis. What a back-and-forth affair to kick off Inferno.
That's a big step up from Anarchis there, just popping that head over the top of the box. I'm sure he wouldn't have seen much of it either. A little smile on his face. Quite literally back and forth. Neither team able to string 2 rounds together. Just a couple of unfortunate moments there for Imperial at the start of that round. Catch had taken the contact on the brackets player. Just had the wrong read on the situation. Thought that he slipped back through the smoke. Didn't realise just quite how deep that close corner went. He will force back, of course. Double eco otherwise. They've got to give this another go. Pandas with definitely more firepower to work with.
Oh, Shalfie getting very exploratory, and Banana here is able to find 23 without even catching sight of her. Oh, he's going wild with the Tech 9. That is 2 more kills, but Crad will eventually be punished. It's Anna to make sure that this isn't a clean wipe from Shalfie. Swing out is good. The result will be able to shut her down. Man, Shalfie's going 13-4 already.
Yeah, so much of this out of 9 Pandas has been on Shalfie's shoulders. Putting up crazy numbers early on here. A performance that if the game ended right now, you'd say, it's all right, middle of the road. Only 5 rounds in. Kes, AWP out. It's that awkward that 9 Pandas have been lacking, that support from above that Shalfie can rely on as he gets aggressive down middle, just up against the pistols. You're not expecting really anything here out of Imperial. Shalfie picking up all the pieces with the MP9. Racks up the tally, racks up the cash, as he's now on 15 frags.
This is such a monstrous showing from Shalfie. And I'm kind of worried for Imperial a bit. You know, it was really back and forth to kick things off. I think there was a moment in time where they could have really solidified an advantage, but if 9 Pandas can just lock in now, that would be a real problem. Shalfie going 15-4 at the moment does mean that he's having a fire start.
Rifles back out though. Anna on that AWP finally. Someone to try and contest with Annika, as I said before, that can be quite tricky. Making that all work here on the deep side of Inferno. Nice entry from 23, but result there for the double trade. But then back in 9 Pandas' favour. Result was the star that we were sort of teeing up to look out for here in the pre-game. He hasn't shone that bright just yet, but a couple of key moments. And that one could be added to the list. Anarchis still here on the corner.
Oh, what an entry! Anarchis is on the angle. And Anna will obliterate him. Crad the only defender now. He's got to call in the reinforcements. They're going to circle around him, but Crad will still be able to do damage. He's just trying to buy time. 2 players on his angle. Zaz is going to hit him with the swinging, flying AK-47. A 2 versus 2 when all is said and done. 1 coming in from Banana, 1 from Coffin. Result, are they going to expect him here so soon? I think they just might. Zaz is already in position to deal with a possible Coffin's player. Oh no, Shalfie caught out with util. Anna ready on the angle, and result will be history. Brilliant showing from Imperial to recover the round.
That is absolutely huge after this double from result. It might just be signed, sealed, and delivered. But he's perfect. Zaz's timing here is brilliant from the line sweep. Shot there, didn't quite clock how little was actually exposed there, but connects it through the corner of the wall. And Imperial are right back in the picture. They do still have to go up against another strong buy here. 9 Pandas took 3 in a row and in quite a clean fashion, so money's still not really a problem.
Man, if I'm an Arcus, that shot definitely ruffles some feathers, right?
Yeah.
It's such a good opening from Ana. Brilliant recovery to allow Imperial to keep making a dent in the scoreline now. It's still an advantage for 9 Pandas, and they'll be able to bring out weapons once more, but Imperial, they're slowly chipping away. AWP once again still available for Ana, so he's gonna have to do a lot of the heavy lifting here. Brad tries to get feisty in Banana, but Zaz is ready to punish. He's got an early control, but a smoke being deployed by the remainder of those defenders does... Oh, hang on. I want to see this duel. It went the way of Ana before, and Ark is once again against the opposing offense.
Oh, wow. Flipped on its head.
Unfortunately, we don't even get to see that engagement.
Yeah. Still, though, Zaz hasn't really taken the space, but for a moment, 9 Pandas left the B site completely vulnerable. Anarchus is back there with the AWP, but this is gunfight. All of a sudden, this becomes a 3-on-3 and an empty bomb site. Big shot hit from Ana. Zaz is selling such a good fake. 9 Pandas completely undecided. Anarchus can't connect his shot. Repeaks manages to hit it. And with 30 seconds left, all the pressure's here on Imperial.
He might have a chance at vengeance now. Anarchus holding the angle, waiting for them to start crossing over. There it is. This time Ana's gonna miss, and Anarchus takes advantage of it. Tucked into the corner, waiting for reinforcements, eventually caught by Cat, but she needs to get on the bomb soon. They're gonna start to circle around her. It could have been the lineup, but it simply is not. 9 Pandas with a 5th.
Thin margins again now. When Anarchus missed that first shot onto Zaz, there was a little window of opportunity for her to just trade it straight back. Put it into a 3-on-3 with an empty bomb site, but just can't seize it. You sort of tee up Cap for perhaps another clutch there, but with such little time on the clock.
It was possible for sure.
Yeah. Doesn't materialize though. 2K in the bank and a 6th on the way here for 9 Pandas. Been holding on by a thin thread, right? But somehow they're materializing these round wins and are pulling away from the pack here.
Oh, that's definitely an accident. Arcus a bit worried that somebody can creep up behind him. But yeah, this should just be an easy peasy round. Not really much of a conversation to have here. 9 Pandas are slowly slipping the net though.
Yeah, just a convincing one there, right? Not a single point of damage taken. It's what you expect against a full eco, but as we know, as we've seen many times in the past, it's not always the case. Back into a buy, though. AK's out. Ana on that AWP once again for 9 Pandas. That is down to an MP9, but that's out of choice, not necessity. They've got plenty of money. So perhaps we'll see him get aggressive here. Take a closer fight, take a closer angle. Nades will flaunt a Banana, deep smoke. And yeah, that is a little bit of a symptom of Banana being that little bit wider. The smoke goes down, but you can very comfortably see over it on logs. Remember, that was sort of an angle that was sometimes obscured. And there's a decent gap there to work with. Zaz is going to push all the way up.
Imperial. All but one of their members centered around B. Smoke deployed around 1:05. The lurker taken care of. Flashbang is good, but Zaz is better. Now they know there's at least one more member waiting for them on the other side. Krad wants to try and delay for time, and Narcus in the meantime wants to ensure that there's going to be no more transgressions on A, and he'll be very successful at it. 23 caught. And now Imperial, with their options being a bit thinned, they might have to force themselves onto B.
Yeah, they were pretty confident in backing up, trying to head back around to that A-bomb site as soon as that smoke went back down, but Nanake's hitting that shot. They will funnel their way in. He's going to be 2 on the side by Flash. Krad's there. MP9 dispatched of an Anna. What is that? Right through coffins. And the disadvantage flips on its head almost instantly. And now the bomb down. They got a fuse on this round.
Yeah, but Zaz and Cat are quite low. A good swing could be all it takes, but Zaz will disallow Imperial with 4.
Okay, what a recovery that was.
The weird thing is that on that attack towards the end, I felt like the flashbangs from coffins would have been good enough to seal the deal, but it goes... I'm not sure if it goes a little bit too wide, or if Imperial are playing anti-flash. I didn't quite catch that, but regardless, the fact that it doesn't connect means that 9 Pandas suddenly commit to duels that the flashbang isn't even useful for.
That was something pretty special, to be honest. Shot from Anna, I'd love to see it from that POV as well, as to how much was exposed there. It was just a shot through the coffins. Aggression from Result again. Remember, we saw this in the first buy round. This time, instantly traded back into the 3-on-3. Dilladez here in bedroom, very aggressive. Will 23 realise for now just sat put, seemingly aware that there may be another man getting aggressive. Dilladez isn't going to over-aggress that much. Shelfie will connect a bullet on the spam. There's still plenty of time to work with, though, so no one getting hasty just yet.
The early exchanges does mean that it's a 3 versus 3, but a tad bit favored towards Imperial because the defenders will have to stretch themselves thin. Oh, love that from 23. All too aware. A solitary defender on either bomb site. And if they elect to go A, they'll have to run into the monster that is Shalfie. On the other side, they've got a Narcus as AWP. Won't be easy any which way you cut it. Shalfie playing. Nearly lets one cross over, but there's the duel. Swings out for Anna. Anna misses the shot, and suddenly it's Cat left on an island. 10 seconds remaining. The only option you've got is to tuck that AK-47 back into your bag.
Counter-terrorists win.
Oh, Dylan is caught. Imperial, access granted to A. But this is still very, very doable on the retake. They're still trying to look for that one player that is unaccounted for. Tori holding the angle. Tech9's unsuccessful. Can't always rely on that inaccuracy.
That's the bomb. They've got the bomb down Banana. I was sort of thinking, like, what is going on here?
I was
Why are they
trying to
still so
look at
far
the
away?
radar to try and find it, but I just couldn't.
It's white. It's really difficult to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's down bottom Banana. It's really... I'm in my brain going, what is going on? But yeah, that pretty much seals the round. It was starting so well.
I mean, you've got no choice but to try and go for it, right? Final round of the half. The T side of Inferno. What started off really strong for Imperial will unfortunately look very promising for 9 Pandas. A near impossible crossfire, and Result will take full advantage of it. 9 Pandas up by 4.
Yeah, no way to break that. It's unfortunate. Shelfie finishing the half with 20 kills, by the way. His impact being felt by everybody on the server. It's shaking the ground here. Zaz on the other side. She's been fantastic with these entries. 15 and 10. Putting up decent numbers of her own, but 8 to 4. It's going to be tough to recover. Now on the CT half. Pistol round. Seems like a must, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Now, no negotiating with the pistol round. You're right. Zaz is going to turn up the heat. Molly down, 1 kill found. In the meantime, everybody else from 9 Pandas will try and cook something up on A. There's still 2 defenders remaining. 23 tucked into the pit. A headshot already being connected. She needs to play this to perfection. Anna's missing too many shots and could be caught out. Just about makes the corner before she's pummeled. And Result, he's got too much information. That's a clean shot onto Zaz. Anna's still trying to fight back, but in a 2 versus 4 with a flank potentially brewing. A player to find in mini pit. This does seem all but impossible.
And just to top it off, there's no kit either. No kit, no util. Surely no hope in this round. Tori with a swing, but met by 2. 9 Pandas will make it 9 rounds. You can see a sort of smile on the face. Romanikez there knows that that round actually meant quite a lot. Converting it does them a lot of favours. Got nice shots being hit by him there at the end too. So you'd expect them to take double digits here. However, Imperial have come in with 4 MP9s, firepower over utility.
As much as I want to say that Imperial had a really good start and all that jazz, unfortunately, a player going 0 and 13. I had to rub my eyes for a second just to make sure. 0 and 13 is inexcusable.
Yeah, it makes this a whole lot a whole lot harder, right? You're sort of doing this on hard mode.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is about as 4v5 as it gets, right? Shelfie moving right in. Bit of a back and forth, and
okay.
There we go. Pointing it out, broke the curse. Story's able to get the first one, but it's still a 2 versus 2. A pre-fire from Result is going to put Tori down, and it's just Zaz remaining, who's going 16 and 11. The most experienced player on the roster, having played competitive CS for, I believe, over a decade now. Responsible for the 1 versus 2. MP9 in hand.
Of course, she has to go for it. There is an opportunity to swap out to a rifle hit. Maybe she won't seize it. Doesn't want to give up the sound cue, the information. They don't know exactly where she is. Results low. That'll give it up, though. One in the pit, no one home. Confirms there's one on the site, but won't expect both. 9 Pandas will take a 10th round. For a moment there, Imperial had the advantage. It was looking good. But you kind of don't necessarily expect 9 Pandas after walking into a crossfire like that there in brackets to double dip and go at it again. That's exactly what they did. Kicks Imperial to the dirt, and now they're good for 11 rounds. Or at least they should be against this full eco.
A start from 9 Pandas that is a bunch of damage peppered onto Zaz. some banana control being established, but 9 Pandas will eventually be taking their efforts to A. Look at this. They've already gotten 2 players to start to wrap around. Shalfie's already in arches, so this is going to be a pretty much free kill. There it is.
Yep.
That's A side access being granted. And realistically, unless Imperial actually win the next round, they have I would like to say maybe 1.5 chances to get back into the game. Money after the next buy is again going to be broken down if 9 Pandas win it. What?
Why? I was going to say, you know, I was about
what
to
am I watching?
On the fact that they weren't hunting, right? I was about to say, you know what? This is great because they don't have any SMGs. They're all on the rifles. There is no need to hunt here. And, you know, they're keeping quite composed. But just throwing themselves at the pistols. Some of the messiest sprays and scrappiest gunfights I've seen out of this entire game for 9 Pandas. And they lose almost everything.
Yeah, 9 Pandas genuinely just had a couple of Master Guardian 2 moments right there.
Yeah.
That was a difficult watch, but I think it was 9 Pandas just trying to dominate, right? Just like move in, get those final kills, and just end the round quick because they feel like because right now they are realistically just looking so much better, right? You've got the likes of Shalfie going 22 and 9. You've got the stand-in that is an Arcus going 15 and 9, 17 and 7 on result. You can't blame them for just wanting to end it because of how good they're looking at the moment. But Imperial, I'm really glad that there was a clapback, right? There was punishment for the fact that they try and go for a sloppy hunt.
Alright, well perhaps let's up a little bit of confidence. Character building perhaps. Flashbang in, Crad is blind, but still finds ahead of Zaz. An unfortunate time to lose an early player. We'll go for a little bit of a dip. Tag down to 37. She has to back off as well. And she goes back the other way. Spams won't connect. And you just can't help but feel this back and forth at the start for Imperial. After winning the pistol and sort of expecting them to string together a few early rounds. The fact that it wasn't a possibility. Had to fight so hard just to take a couple at the start. The second that 9 Pandas got the momentum, they've just run away with it. It feels like they should be good for 12 here. Man advantage, regroup into B, but Imperial do have the right read. They're pulling the rotation over. That's Anna coming to join the party.
That have to contend with every single player that is alive for Imperial right now to break through this bomb site. Now they've left themselves no options. 25 seconds remaining. It's do or die. 9 Pandas, there's the first kill. Result finds Tori. Cat in the back of the bomb site will start to fight back. The AWP on the cross is perfect. Anna will find a victim. Cat is still trying to stay alive. 23 pulls out of the smoke, and that is domination from Imperial coming out on the B bomb site. 9 Pandas looking lost there.
It's just the perfect timing of the call of the rotation. Really tiny stuff. It's going to break the money as well. 9 Pandas, who should have had enough cash to go for a proper buyback. Losing everybody on the eco like they did puts them in a pretty horrible position here. I'm going to say
that I think the conversation that just happened for Imperial probably goes like, listen, we're getting completely dominated in firepower right now, so we need to just be outplaying them in terms of rotations, in terms of everything else, right? You just need to be able to outnumber at that point.
And Inferno's a map where getting those rotations right is really difficult. Those CT's rotations are lengthy and can be quite punishing when you get it wrong. 23, timing important, doesn't drop off until she finds the first headshot. It was clean, and the off angle works nicely. Anna though, yeah, in a little too deep, still has the support from long. It's all crumbling.
Oh, that is a nasty shot from Crad. And the veteran of Imperial, Zaz, on for the 1-on-3. The M4 could be very useful in the subsequent round, but she's still going to give an honest crack at it. stick around close enough where if you get a stray, couple of kills, then maybe you can try and go for it, but those opportunities will no longer be afforded. 9Pandas, they've made one mistake before. They gave up all of their weapons when they went for that really sloppy hunt, and they're not going to do that again. Imperial starting to feel the pressure once more.
At least get an exit, but I know it's a silver lining in a pretty dire situation, isn't it? It's a really nice shot from 23 there. I thought for a second that might be enough. Done well. I didn't realise he got one with the USP in that situation as well, but just gets a little bit sloppy. Ends up crumbling beneath them. 9Pandas onto 12. 7 chances to finish this off. It's a buy back out of Imperial. Tori down to the MP9, the rest on the rifles. It's here in top banana. Come her away, won't cause problems, but does isolate her a little bit here. She's going to have to take the gunfights. Back to go 1-for-1.
Nade does a fair bit of damage onto Shalfie, so that's a good start. Close, and that's good from Tori. Probably gets a little bit more success than she anticipated here, just swinging out wildly with the MP9. But A is the name of the game now for 9Pandas. This could be do or die for Imperial. They've got a solitary... Oh, never mind. Hannah actually does have 23 in her back pocket. Rotation also being brought forward, and Narcus needs to be perfect on the flick. Doesn't matter, though. Dilladev will be there to secure, and now they're going to quickly book it to Arches. 2 of the players are still stuck inside A. There's a second prong that can start to create a bit of a problem for Cat here. Molotov is going to flush him out, but she needs to find this duel fast, and she simply won't be able to. Crad, with a quick smoke, starts to take control of Banana. Advanced positioning is going to make it really hard to contend with, but Anna will still be able to get the last laugh in the duel. 2 versus 2 now. Imperial, everything to do to stay alive in this game, and there's still a long road ahead of them, and Narc is holding the angle. Utility shouldn't be phasing him. Dilladev, the first headshot, opt to clothesline. Anna is narrowly going to avoid death, and with 2 heads to find and the bomb already halfway ticked off, the op and rifle combo will be really difficult to contend with. Tries to be cheeky with the movement, but 9Pandas will be shutting them down in a 13-5 fashion.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, well, clean stuff, and Annika's not being as much of a contingency as we perhaps thought he would be. Hitting some nice shots there on the AWP and keeping things tidy for 9Pandas. Inferno going their way quite convincingly. I don't think the scoreline completely does that justice. I do think there were a lot of much closer scenarios and a lot of swing rounds that, had they gone the way of the Valkyries, things could have been a whole lot closer. But no doubt, 9Pandas did look like the better team on the server there. And yeah, they'll take their opening match with their heads held high. Here in the close qualifier, every win counts. And they'll be happy with that outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I think 9Pandas, they did a fantastic job on their opener. And, you know, it's a conversation we had about how 9Pandas, they're at the risk of losing some of their standing because of VRS. But the fact that they played with a stand-in, they played with an Archez, and they still did a great job, they'll feel very comfortable about it now. And I don't think the road's going to get any easier in this close qualifier, but it's a good way to kick things off. Now, on the other hand, for Imperial Valkyries, they're not even going to have too much time to pull their socks up, because they're now going to be thrust into a game against Complexity that's coming up next.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Complexity looked very strong earlier on. Their opening game against Namiga absolutely stomped it. So, yeah, on form, fired up. Not going to be easy. We have seen the Valkyries play against Complexity in the past as well, I think about a month and a half ago. So, yeah, maybe a bit of sort of deja vu there. We'll see. But there's that final scoreboard. Impressive stuff out of Shalfie. He actually finished the first half on 20 kills. Then went a little bit quiet in the second. Could have been lights out 30 bomb for him if the scoreline had closed up a little bit. Zaz on the other side, though, definitely the one to point out, right? The one player that went positive, 110 ADR in a game that you lose 13-5 is really impressive.
Listen, and if you actually look at the kill distribution, right, it wasn't horrible from Imperial Valkyries, although it was 13-5, right? It's super one-sided in the grand scoreboard, but you look at the actual kills, they're close enough where, you know, we could have seen a much better outcome. Now, of course, if you look at the tail end of the scoreboard, the story was just not the same. I feel like Tori only getting 3 kills is inexcusable, especially because you've got to consider that when she did start eventually getting kills, it was just a couple of pistol kills here and there, and the scoreline at some point for her was 0-13, so that is effectively a 4 versus 5 that Imperial Valkyries had to play for a really long time, and I think that did hurt their chances, Josh.
I think it almost grows like exponentially harder to get a kill the further you go into a game without finding a kill, right? You go 0-5 and you start to get in your head a little bit, and then you go sort of 0-8, 0-9, 0-10, and you just think, oh Jesus, you just start losing every single gunfight. You start whiffing some of those key sprays and whatnot, and getting your own head a little bit. So yeah, just unfortunate stuff there for Tori. I hope that she has a better game in her next one against Complexity.
That's right.
But yeah, the Valkyries kind of getting stomped a little bit in that opening matchup.
Yeah, now, I mean, they're going to be going straight into that Complexity game, right? That's, I would believe, an even tougher team. So, yeah, not a whole lot of time to get some breathing room, but I'm hopeful that they're going to have a better game in that one. Now, of course, for Josh and I, it is going to be the end of the broadcast, but we are going to have our lovely colleagues, the Eternal J and Dweg, to hold your hand through the rest of the games. Of course, it's going to be us signing out. Have a good one.